Welcome to the Table 18 podcast. My name is Cuddy, and that's
Damon Conklin.
Damon.
Damon.
Fucking
Bad
Damon.
little Damon.
How's it going, man? How was your weekend?
Good, man. Went to an awesome party at my friend Burgandy's place down on the water. A little bit of dancing, a little bit of eating, a little bit of catching up with old friends. Jammed out on my guitar some.
Nice.
Getting some progress there.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Congrats.
Good times. How about you?
It was a good weekend, man. It was mellow. Hung out with the older kids. I think I made some plans for Christmas time, which is we know is Thorne's big holiday. He's into that.
Yeah, that's right.
And then really didn't do much. Like it was a lot of house cleaning items.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
which is fine because now I feel like more composed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which is great.
Yeah.
So that was good. I do want to say before we start the show that to everybody that yesterday that happened at Bite of Seattle.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, that's supposed to be like the place where you don't have to worry about anything. It's fucking food.
Bro, there is giant baby bottles full of juice is the
Yeah.
mainstay there.
Yeah.
Like, why would you, like...
That's so weird, man.
Yeah, it's weird. So I just wanted to take a second and say, I don't want to thoughts and prayers, but like, our thoughts and energy out to those people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sorry about that. And especially to that young child who,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah, it's rough. Not to bring us down, but I figured we should say something
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I got a question for you.
I got an answer for you.
I knew you would. So this is a question that I think is a bit of a face-off between you and I. Are you ready? Are we? Right? Ennio Morricone plays quietly in the background. So there's two camps in this world, right? Two camps, as I see it, as it has been presented on the internet, as I've known it my whole entire life. My question to you, Damon, is: are you pro Tool? Pro Tools? Are you pro Tool the band, or can you leave the band? Are you a fan of Tool or not?
You know, like as with many topics where there are two camps, and I happen to be a mostly solo traveler, first time I ever heard Tool, I saw them. I saw them play at I don't know, it might have been a Lollapalooza or something like that on a backstage. And my friend Chico was like, you really got to check these dudes out, you know? And I'm like, I go back there and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty cool. But to be honest, like the magic of Tool is lost on me.
That's fair.
And there was a few things about him that kind of annoyed me when I was young, you know? And so I got kind of weird, like I kind of planted my flag about it. And at this point I realized that I like to draw things. And I had to work hard to figure out the place to put them in, you know, and music, some of it's like Van Halen is like a thing.
Sure.
That's, you know, it's like a character, you know, and then like Tool is like an environment, you know, I think.
Yeah.
Their music is very like, it creates space.
It's escape.
You know, and my favorite music isn't the space creating stuff. I do like some of it. And at this point, like I don't hate Tool, but I don't love them. And they're all right.
It's really funny because I'm like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
All of my favorite music is very much, it becomes part of the background.
Right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Tool's one of those things you can put on a Tool album and be driving and everything just eventually becomes it. You know, you're like the music and the background. You could be driving through the middle of the country. And I have.
Yeah.
I've driven through the
Yeah,
middle of the
yeah.
country listening to a Tool album, and everything is just kind of becoming part of
That makes sense. Yeah.
the whole, the whole scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Another two of my favorite is DJ Shadow and Portishead, which both do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can drive and put on DJ Shadow introducing. You can be in a city. You can be driving through the country. You can be. You know what I mean? Like
I like
walking
both
on a
of them
boat.
more than Portishead.
That's
I
fair.
mean, more
than Tool.
Than Tool.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but it's that same kind of.
That makes sense.
And,
yeah.
and for me, when I was young, I think that Tool. I know for a fact there was a time where, there's these different phases of becoming. As you evolve, right? You go from this to that, and a lot of that when you're young is informed by grief and heartbreak or whatever. And Tool was like a major part of like one of those transitions into this part of me dying and then this part of me taking over or becoming.
I feel like in some ways, maybe even that one, Tool is kind of like the next generation of Pink Floyd.
Sure,
You know,
100%. Like a darker, more cerebral. Oh, no,
Pink Floyd is dark.
Yeah, it's dark. It's dark. Yeah,
Which is
dark.
what I liked about it when I was young, you know.
Yeah, like to this day, if you put on "Welcome to the Machine" by, you know what I mean, you're like, whoa, this is fucking bleak. You can take "Welcome to the Machine" by Pink Floyd and put it to any video.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, what the fuck, dude? I guess now we should probably ask our guest.
Yeah. What does Burgandy have
What
to
does
say
Burgandy
about
have
this?
to say about
Okay,
it?
so I'm going to say I definitely was the hardest music that I really ever listened to was grunge. You know, like I was
Okay.
definitely like a grunge, and then I went sharp turn to electronic music. Okay,
Right, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
then when I became a dancer, a stripper,
Oh, we're going to get right into it.
we're going to get right into it.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell you, there isn't a better music for strippers than Tool.
Really?
I believe that.
Really?
And you know why? Because it's hard and it's melodic. And so you can move real slow and sexy, but it is going hard. And so, and then
There's punctuation in their music.
It satisfies,
Yeah.
It satisfies that kind of like, it's a male environment. Men are coming to hang out, right? And But then the women ride that melodic level of
Totally.
it and can totally still get their kind of like snake charmer.
Serpentine. That's what I was going to. Yeah, it's very.
It's 100% serpentine. So I knew shit about Tool until I started dancing. And then once I started dancing, I was like, oh, what is this? Okay, this is... Now, mind you, women in that industry only have their songs. And so those were already taken by women. I didn't dance to any Tool, right? I mean, I may have given dances to Tool, but my stage sets were not Tool, right?
Yeah,
but let me tell you, now when I hear some Tool, talk about like a good nostalgia though. I'm just like, ooh, that sounds... You know, and so I love Tool. Have I ever bought an album of Tool's? Absolutely not. But when I hear it, I'm like, ooh, I like that, you know?
For sure.
It just gained 5 points.
Do you like Tool now?
I think I like Tool now. Yeah.
Well, no, and it's very popular at least during that time
Sure,
period. You
yeah.
know, the early 2000s for sure.
Just like
I mean, it was any.
just like Nine Inch Nails was. Like there was a vein of.
But you know what? Portishead. Same thing.
Same thing.
So that's why when you said that, you're like absolutely spot on, because that is also you expect.
It's atmospheric.
You expect both of those in the club, no matter what. Those two were definitely going to be played.
Sure, it's atmospheric and cerebral at the same time, right? Like
Exactly.
you can just kind of, and I'm definitely that person for sure. Like that's just my bag. But no, I knew the Tool thing being good for strippers from my wife.
Yeah.
But also, and I think that all strippers ever do this for the rest of their life, and they'll hear a new song and they're like, "This would be good to dance to."
You're 100%. Oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
Especially the first couple years after you stop dancing, you're
Sure.
like, oh, I might pick it up just for this song.
Yeah.
I might have to go in and do one more stage set. Hold on.
Right. And it ends up being like the highest compliment my wife can pay a new song I show her.
Yeah.
Like I'll show it to her and she's like, "This is good. I could dance to this." And you're like, "Okay, cool." Like I know what that means. The shorthand is, "This is great."
That has everything we want a song to have.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, shit. Welcome to the show, Burgandy Viscosi.
It's Viscosi.
Viscosi.
We're just, Viscosi.
Viscosi.
Oh,
It's a painter. And I love it because it's actually listed on all my paints, the viscosity. So my name is in there. So Viscosi.
That's awesome too. Yeah, that's dope. Where did the Viscosi come from?
Oh, the Viscosi, you know, I was adopted. My mom died, the whole thing. And it was, I never legally was adopted. It's a long story, but it was one of the names. It was one of the, Lou Viscosi was amazing. He was the first male figure in my life. He was amazing. He was only in there for a brief time. I used the name. They didn't actually adopt me. They pretended they did.
Shout out to Lou Viscosi.
I know.
Rest in
He's
peace.
rest in peace.
Lou, you were a saint.
Name.
Yeah.
Lou Viscosi is a guy.
I would not want to fuck with that guy.
No.
I don't even know what he was like.
And so what happened was I ended up getting, they took me to get my Social Security card, and it was Viscosi. On my birth certificate, it's Johnson.
Burgundy Johnson's a whole different vibe.
It's a whole different
That is a
vibe.
blaxploitation character.
And I went
Felony Jones, Burgundy Viscosi.
I went through
Or
life
Johnson.
as Burgundy Viscosi, and it wasn't until I joined the military that they're like, you don't exist in the system at like because I had two. Nothing had been done legally.
Right.
So it was all kind of, so I kept the name. They asked me what name I wanted, and I said Viscosi.
You know,
I once had a different name. My grandfather, who I was given to, enrolled me in school as Ponson Benson. Not on my birth certificate, but I ended up having school ID, state ID. I went to Raymond Hall as Ponson Benson. And then when I went into foster care, I went back to my birth certificate name, which is Damon Conklin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I learned it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, as I get older, I realize that most of my favorite people were either adopted or fostered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know what there's got to be some kind of like math behind it, but seriously, a lot of my favorite people, like they have stories like that. Well, first you got to understand I was found in a shoebox. Right? And you're like, oh, I get it. I know why you're cool. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I get it. Right? Yeah. Misfits, baby. Welcome to the show, man. You are a pretty renowned, a artist and painter of some renown. You own the
Burgandy Viscosi Gallery.
Burgandy Viscosi Gallery down
Pier
on
55.
Yep. The
Which
Seattle
for
waterfront.
anybody who hasn't seen her work, just stop everything. You're blowing it. Like, go see her work. It's mind-blowing, very literally, I think.
I think that's the point of it, right? Which we'll get into somewhat for sure. I guess the good place to start is like there is a definite start for you here in this journey, right? I mean, like, feel free to tell us anything about the early life, but from what I understand, there's this aha moment, this big revelatory moment that you had that was a death experience that kind of, stopped one chapter and started another.
It is how it all begun, and it is my north compass whenever I create. And so and we'll back up and then we'll kind of tie it all together. But yes, my mother had committed suicide when I was 3.
Sure.
Oh, wow.
And I was in the space. So she shot herself, and
My mom shot herself in the heart, but she missed.
oh my gosh,
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know this.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it doesn't come up in conversation a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, speaking of moms that shoot themselves, I'm in that club.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a fucking downer most of the time.
Right, that's the other thing.
Well, and to be fair, she didn't miss, but she actually was a vegetable that my grandmother then had to pull the plug. So
that's rough.
it wasn't quite as a full success.
A lot of times I looked this up at one point because of for research. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And a lot of times, from what I understand, that using a gun on yourself or hanging yourself does not go the way that the expectation is. And how for me, I was like, man, I feel so alone. But if I did this and now I'm like that and
Like, I can't
that
even
alone?
get suicide.
Right, totally.
You know?
I didn't have anybody. Now I don't have anybody and I need somebody. Right?
Yeah.
So it's right out the gate. And so I can never remember a time. So that was at 3 years old. I can never remember a time in my youth not knowing that this is what happened. Right. And so you got to understand at like 5 years old, that's the thing I'm contemplating.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And so at that point, no one had told me that there was ever any father involved. No one knew his name. Nobody knew anything. My auntie came and took me, and she was a wild ride all of her own. Now, I spent many years having to work that out. Now I think she was the greatest teacher I ever. She was the toughest. That she'd pull a knife on you, and she would actually stab you. She would
actually stab you. This is not for show.
No,
She wasn't brandishing.
No, but I'll tell you what. I've lived in downtown Seattle. We talk about the rough Seattle, right? I'm like, oh, come on. She taught me to not be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
And so anyway, she raised me, but it was a crazy and a wild, bumpy ride.
Right.
But the thing that I always thought about is the people who brought me into the world, right? were not around. I mean, I didn't have a name for a father, and and my mother apparently, said, "Hey, this isn't the best route. I think I should get out of here." Right?
Yeah.
Now that was down in deep down southern Texas. Okay.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I remember going to Bible school shortly after that, and them saying, "Oh, your mother committed suicide. She definitely went to hell."
Right.
And this, I did not want to ascribe to. Like that
Right.
was
Sure.
Yeah.
that was the one thing.
If you want to lose a kid, that's all you got to say to him.
No, I mean, and that's I closed the door on religion pretty
Boom.
sharply right there. I mean, I
Right.
might have played along with it and gone if I needed to do the things.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to navigate.
I had already set a pretty sharp. That's not for me because I don't know who she was, but she still was my mom, and I definitely don't think she went to hell. And so I had this, and I want to say curiosity. It was, I thought about it more than I thought about what was life, what was death. I remember being on the monkey bars in elementary school and with a kid named Troy. Shout out to Troy, wherever the hell he is.
Shout out to you, Troy.
Yeah. And he was the only one I could find who wanted to talk about what came first, the chicken or the egg. I mean, I remember
Yeah, I get it.
I remember being as young, and I wanted to talk about the big stuff. I was like, why are we here?
Yeah.
And where the fuck are we going?
Right.
What's
Sure.
if we're here to die, well, then what is death? And should we do it now?
Right.
I mean, I had and it wasn't the conversation that you could just bring to anyone. And I kind of realized that early on. And so anyways, life got wild as it does. And then and it only got more turbulent at home. Things were just getting really, really turbulent.
Yeah.
And so when I was 17, I joined the military. I was like, okay, peace out. I had already moved 33 times. I was already all over.
You're going to move less while in the military? That's fucking saying something. Yeah, totally.
But I had also I had never done drugs as a young, I wasn't in my youth, in high school, I might have smoked pot once.
Right.
Sure.
I literally never, and it was because my home life was so unstable, and I felt like I was the one that was keeping it solid.
Yeah, you were focused on trying to keep the fucking boat level.
Yeah.
Homeostasis.
Yeah.
Which a lot of us that have, this can sound woo-woo, but a lot of us that have trauma, we have to unlearn that later on in life. It comes out in people-pleasing behavior.
Absolutely.
Because we're just doing everything we can to make homeostasis, to make it okay.
That's why that's why they say people like that are super empathic, because they can feel in the room who's off.
It's survival tool.
You have to.
Because you have to.
Because you have to.
Literally intuitive. Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna.
I have to be able to, to this day, I can intuit if somebody has predatory nature towards me.
Absolutely.
Because of being a young person on the street.
100%.
Right.
Yeah. So I joined the military at 17, and it was the first time I got to relax. I mean, these people, oh, you're going to drop me? Okay, I'll do some push-ups for you. You know what I mean?
Sure,
it was, I was like, oh, this is supposed to be hard. I was like, this is amazing. There is a bed.
Well, you probably didn't have to think about a bunch of fucking emotional chaos for the first time in your life.
Absolutely.
Right? That was taken off your shoulders.
There was a bed. There was a meal every night. I just had to do what they asked me to do, which was really actually pretty easy.
Pretty easy stuff.
Pretty easy stuff. And I was like, oh, it's the first time I ever relaxed. I'm going to tell you. First time ever in my life that I was like, oh my gosh, I feel safe.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable.
And you don't have to take care of everything. The food's showing up, the money's showing up, the place to stay it's always there.
It's always there.
As crazy as this sounds,
I know.
The first time, or when I get arrested, the moment I'm in the back of a police car, I go to sleep.
Yeah, you're like,
because I know I'm fine. Totally. The worst has happened.
Yeah,
right. And then I get to jail, and I'm like, it's nap time.
Don't got to worry about paying the power bill.
Yeah, exactly.
So I joined the military, get to relax, the whole thing.
You were in the Navy?
I was in the Navy. Yeah, cool. I joined the.
Is there a reason that you?
Well, I mean, the outfit was the best.
They are pretty great.
No. To be fair,
the pea coats are pretty hard. They go hard.
You know what sucks is I got rid of all of them. Those were the real dungarees with the bell bottoms. They don't make them anymore.
with the corduroy on the inside and the inside
Oh my
of the
gosh,
pockets.
yes. They were like,
Yeah,
I had the big bells.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then 2 years later, they got rid of them.
Yeah.
So, oh God, I would have.
My friend John Michael, he can tell you who manufactures them because you can still purchase them.
Oh, good. My dungarees?
Yeah, and the
Can I
whole
still
deal.
get my name on them?
Yeah, and I'm sure.
Viscosi.
That's crazy. We just had the Bush outfit thing, you know.
Yeah,
the
totally.
Camo.
But honestly, yeah, the outfit was fine. But also, I wanted to see the world. I had been in Texas for a while.
Right.
And I knew I needed to get out. I was smart enough to know that I needed to see some things. And that was the one truth that the recruiter did tell me. Said,
Right.
Said,
You get one truth. That's it. Yeah.
You want to see the world, join the Navy.
Yeah.
And I did. I saw so many different countries. I've been all over the world, which is amazing. So
That's
that
awesome.
that part was pretty awesome.
I saw California.
Okay. There you go.
Which
Which
I
was
mean,
its own,
it's its own world.
yeah. To be fair, you can get a little bit of everything there.
Yeah.
So I joined the military. We did the thing. I relaxed. I started making some friends. And I was in Chicago in the 90s, started doing the electronic music. It was house music. Started
Right.
going to parties, raves, the whole thing. And then started realizing, obviously, because you have to get things out of your system, you do certain drugs in the military, you know?
Yeah, right,
You're not going to
right.
smoke marijuana. That's not what you do in the military, you know?
Well,
so, I don't know. I never did. I never did.
She's not going to smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
I was, how do you say it, stupid.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's kind of a fool's errand. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I was still mathing things out. I was trying to be perfect.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, we can still do this and maybe, you know. But
you didn't want mom and dad, which was the military at this point, to be angry.
exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Obviously, acid was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I remember taking mushrooms in Bali. Like we were in.
Where did you even get mushrooms?
Oh, no,
That's
no.
awesome.
Oh, you can literally sit
Oh, you
down
can
at a bar.
buy you can buy mushroom milkshakes in Bali.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
that's how we got him. Shakes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were.
yeah.
But my other military friends showed me.
Hold on. I got to
obviously.
look up fucking flights to Bali.
No, I had friends of mine warn me before I went.
Watch out
They're
for
like,
the omelets too.
Yeah.
They put them in the omelets.
Like, okay, hold on. Listen, I got to say something.
Mushrooms in the omelet.
Because
Yeah.
the most complex we ever got with mushrooms was like putting them in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then bustling it down, right? These
yeah.
people are doing it right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
When you make the peanut butter and
I
jelly
put
and
them
you
in
put
spaghetti and went to art school with that spaghetti for lunch.
That's genius.
Sitting in life drawing class, getting
Yeah.
weirder and weirder.
Weird. Yeah, I partied pretty hard, but I also, you know, I was still following all the rules and doing all the things, and one night, I was stationed in Bremerton.
Sure.
Okay, and I would go out to NAFT a lot and all the different
Yeah.
raving places, and this was in '99.
Yeah,
okay, and do you remember? I think it was called FX Studios. It was on 15th, where Denny turns and becomes 15th.
Oh right,
And it
yeah,
was on
yeah,
the
I do, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
You
Right before you turn off to go to whatever that other fancy neighborhood across the
Yes,
bridge.
exactly. Yeah. So it was a big rave spot.
Okay.
And I think I had went to for a moment, which was not a rave spot, but I had popped into polyesters right before then.
That's funny.
Oh, polyester
Down
used
by
to
the
be
center.
the place where older cougars would wait for young guys to get drunk enough.
Yeah, dude. Totally.
It was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was like-
Well, and it was like 70s music. That's all it was.
It was.
Like,
Yeah.
But it was like 70s night every night.
It was every night. Yeah.
which was fucking great.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, there's some great music out of the 70s.
Anyway, yeah.
So detour. But
Right.
so I went and I ended up getting some acid from somebody, and I don't think I took any more than I normally do.
Right.
And I remember I danced maybe deeper than I've ever danced. I was in it. I was very, very much in it. And when I went to leave, and I was going to drive back to the military base.
Yeah.
Yep, I went to leave. And when I got in my car, something changed.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the car, and I remember I talked out loud, and everything echoed back at me. But it was all breaking apart. And I had done acid quite a bit at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And this had never happened. This was
Yeah.
something different.
Sure.
I was like, okay, but it was no fear, no
Right,
nothing.
right.
There was, but it was this, and it was, all I can say is it was divine. Like it felt
Right.
very divine. And I started driving, and I started driving more out of routine. I knew the way back. I knew how to get back to Bremerton.
Sure.
You know, and it's way past ferry time. So it's
Yeah.
like, 3 a.m. or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive around, and I start driving, and I think the last place I remember turning was maybe on, I don't even remember getting on the highway. Like I just know,
Right.
I remember being on Denny Way,
Yeah.
and I started, I can't remember how it initially started, but I started asking questions, and I started asking the questions. Why are we here? These are
Right.
the questions that I had been asking my
Right.
whole life.
Yeah.
And now there was a moment where I felt like the answers were there.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
And so I asked, why are we here? And it was interesting because originally it was like sex, and not meaning we're not here for sex, but the procreation is why
Right.
the existence of
Yeah.
Just the
physical
perpetuation of life.
yeah.
It's
And
it's
start
kind of
to
the
go-
main driver
Yeah,
of human existence.
Exactly. And so everything is coming like in these big, and then I just remember there it was. I was like, why are we doing this? And what, if we're doing all of this, what is death? And I don't know how long this time frame was, but in that moment, it was answered. And it was the dissolving of self, complete dissolving of self. And I didn't realize how weighty being physical is. It's so incredibly weighty. And I felt like finally the weight of letting the physical form go.
Right.
And I mean, I know at this time I was like just bawling in relief, like
Right.
absolutely
Sure.
bawling in relief, and just this is what death is, and being comforted in a way that I can only describe as God. Like there's no other, nothing like just returning to source. Like
Right.
every cliche, that they've ever been said about it. Like it is all of those things, right? And
Yeah.
it was so majestic and so magnificent. And then a lot of times people say that they see their funeral. Well, are there, and it's interesting because I remember I could feel the weight of people being sad that I had gone. Like I remember feeling that weight, and I could see how it could be perceived as like your funeral, right?
Interesting.
And I was like, and in that I was like, I died. Because I was like, what was I doing? And I was like, I was driving. I'm not driving. I mean, I'm not even anything anymore.
Right.
I had completely dissolved in it, and it was the white light, but it was beyond the white light. It was multidimensional and multicolored and multifaceted and it was everything, all
Right.
consuming of all
Sure.
dimensions and everything, right? And so, and I'm like, this is death. This is the thing that we put so much fear, the thing that I have, the weight of even, my mother's, all these things, right? But at this point, I'm not necessarily contemplating it that way because I'm losing the I. I'm losing the identity of Burgandy. I'm literally dissolving back into the ether of the eternal. Like I know, like it is full, and in that moment, and that's why I say it was a death experience, not a near death. In that moment, I made a choice. And I was like, if this is what death is, I have to go tell these bros because this is not.
I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah.
This
I gotta
told-
shout it from the mountaintops.
And I was like, I'll be back. Don't you worry. I'll be right back. And I'll
Right.
be back. And I don't know the time, and then, and I remember just feeling the weight. And first, I was not Burgandy. I was the entire earth. Like I felt the weight of just being solid, physical, dense reality again. Like solid matter.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, I am the earth. I am mud. And I could feel, and that's why I do believe in aliens, because I could feel there were plenty of other earths out there, or other like
Yeah.
I was like, this is not, we're definitely not the only one. Okay. But then, and I don't like, it was very slow, and eventually I came to. And when I came to, I was in a very demolished car. I mean, like fucking windshield, all the things, whatever.
Because while you went away in your mind to have that experience, you were, however, still
died.
driving a car.
Oh, no,
Because
no.
I had an acid experience that meets many of those same kind of like everything broke apart. It's kind of like TV Pixels, you know. Then there was a part of it where I was like floating in a glass case, and there were spirits like, is he going to make it, you know?
Yeah.
And then but me being my shallow, also in the service self at the time, was like, man, I'm definitely coming back because this is acid, and acid is fun.
Yeah.
Nothing deep, unfortunately, happened.
Yeah, I not on that level at all. But
I was sitting on a bed when it happened, not driving a car.
fair enough. We were talking about this recently, and I get to these spots when I do any kind of hallucinogen by myself, where I have these like inventories, right? And like I get into this like weird inventory of self.
It was an inventory at first, for sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
And it's like, and I get into this place where I'm like, it starts out like very much like, why is the universe like this? Why is this like this? Asking those questions. And then I get to the point, then it gets more pointed and more, and I end up in a mirror, but not like, look at my face. And like, I end up and I'm like asking myself questions like, why did you do that? Why are you showing up like this? Right? Like, and I've gone pretty deep into that, but never like deep enough that like I let go of the wheel, literally, right? Like
So I did, and I made it as far as it's off the off ramp of like right past Kent, like right. So
sure,
I made it that
you were
far.
deep, yeah.
I was,
that's impressive.
Yeah,
and nobody saw me. The middle of the night, nobody saw me go off the side of the road, and so I had went. And it's crazy. So I had hit a tree, and the tree fell on top of the car. Like it did a back. The tree fell. By the time I came to, which was about noon the next day, nobody had found me. Nobody saw me even go off the side of the road, which is why I know it was a true death experience, because I really do feel it had already went to that point where, okay, she's gone, to me actually going, no, I will return even into, whatever it is. And then whenever I returned, I remember like sitting up, and the mirror was right here, talk about mirrors, and this was split down to the bone. Like this.
Oof.
It was all the way open, all the way down to the bone.
Oh, wow.
And then I literally, the engine was up under my fucking legs, right? I couldn't hold my body up. It was completely like this. And like every time I went up, it would fall back over. I was so fucked up. I was so fucked up. And I was like, then I knew that the universe was a fucking jokester. I was like, oh, no. This is not what I meant.
Yeah. right. Let's rewind.
I'm like, wait, no. I said I wanted to come back, but this, oh man. And then of course I am a girl. I'm all of, at this time, 20 years old, who I totally maybe took advantage of the fact that I was a pretty girl.
Right.
Like I was a pretty girl, and it was not pretty. This thing that I came back into, this whole thing, and I was like, oh, no. And nobody could see me. The way that the tree fell, that's why it's like divine intervention. I just, like, there's so many things that are beyond understandable. That's why I know much bigger workings of the universe, and that I am just this tiny part of it. But the way the tree was, nobody could see me. I was so perfectly camouflaged. From right off of I-5, I could see the cars going by. They could not see me, like miraculously, right?
Which is crazy, because when you're in that kind of a traumatic injury event, like moments count in saving a life.
Absolutely.
And you're there for hours.
So I had already, so say I went off the road after 3, and then it's noon.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. It's
You've
noon.
been there for 8 or 9
People have
hours.
worked the whole shift.
So I'm here, and I'm like, I look at myself, and I'm like, you know what? That death thing was fucking awesome. Guess what? We're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I am not. There's no way. I have no desire in this form.
Yeah.
I mean, life is tricky enough. Like to actually now be disabled, and then and at this point, I assume that I'm disabled of some sort, because my leg it's way up, and I can't hold, and I'm coughing up blood, and I'm like, oh, I'm internally bleeding. I'm just gonna die. And it's
no
fine.
one could have envisioned that you would look like this later. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, at
that's
least
crazy.
ball her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
You were
Well,
like,
especially not in that
yeah,
moment.
totally.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely
You look
not.
like someone from fucking Creepshow.
Oh yeah. No. Well, and so then I laid there for the rest of the day, and I was like, I'm like, okay, and then I laid there for the rest of the night. So that night, all I wanted to do, because where I was kind of in an off-ramp section, and I knew somebody would eventually find me, and when I decided I just want to die, I wanted to go die out in the woods. And the only way I could find like a good section of woods was across the highway. And I was like, all I could do was crawl, and there was no way I could make it across the highway without somebody rolling over me.
Sure.
Right? And which was defeats the whole purpose. Like,
oh my God, this is so gnarly.
Yeah. No. So I literally was like, what do? I guess I just lay. I'm gonna die eventually. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And so I laid there that night, and then I must have been healing, because let me tell you, there was no pain. There was no nothing. I felt nothing.
Wow.
There was absolutely no uncomfort, no nothing. There was awkwardness. I didn't have any control of my upper body, which was really freaking weird. I was it wasn't like paralyzation. It just was, I couldn't hold it up. And I was like, fuck, this is just weird. So there was all the awkwardness of the whole thing. And so then that next day, so I went through the night. It got cold that night. It was only September, but it still was cold,
Right.
Okay, now this was the 90s. I don't know what, I think it was like late 2000s when like Nalgene bottles came along. We didn't carry water.
Yeah.
Nobody had waters in their
carry
car.
water. Yeah. That's amazing, but it's so back then we didn't.
So true.
At all.
It was not a trendy thing to. Do you have your water bottle with you? No. I definitely had no water in the car.
Yeah.
And at this point, I had crawled out of the car, and I was like, it felt better to be on the earth. And then, interestingly, I always say this was my my Buddha moment, but it wasn't conscious. I had never tried to meditate in my life. That was never my route.
Right.
There was a tree, and that tree kept calling me because I couldn't hold my back correctly.
Right.
Later, I found out my back was broken in 2 spots,
right.
and and all my ribs were crushed. So like the fact that I couldn't actually hold my body up totally made sense.
Yeah.
But it was so awkward to not have control. The tree looked amazing, and I ended up rolling over to the tree, and then I rolled my back against the tree, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because I finally could just like sit, right?
Right.
And I sat there. And then what happened? Because I'm starting to come back into the physical form. Mm-hmm. I'm literally starting to come back to becoming physical. And you know what kicks in?
Pain.
No, still not. Thirst. Thirst is much more excruciating than
pain, for sure.
I had thought of hunger, a day before that. I think. I'm like, food.
Well, just
that's
think about
food, man.
Think about it. I had been raving the night before, meaning dancing my ass off, sweating my ass off.
Oh yeah, you were dried out.
I was as dehydrated as a human could be already.
Yeah.
Right. And so then you go through another full day, right, of no. So
the body's trying to fucking put out fires.
Why it needs everything that you're not giving it.
And so I started feeling thirst in a way I had never felt thirst. Yeah. I was like, holy crap, this is strong. And I'm like, no, I can do it. I can ride this out. I can die. I'm good. I got this. So I'm against the tree. And this is why I say it's the first time I ever meditated and didn't even think about it. But I started taking breaths, and every breath I would imagine it was the cooling sensation of water. And that would, and it would satisfy me for the moment. Like I would take a breath. I can sit here longer. Right. And so then I sat there for the entire day. And then what happened is the sun started coming down, and it started cooling off, and the whole thing. And what my brain, those cars that were driving by, I didn't care that there was humans in there. They had water. So the cars literally, it was like a river. Like your brain is just like, that is a source of water. That is
like in the cartoon where the character sees the cow and just sees the cuts of meat. And
sure.
I didn't care about the human at all. I was like, do you got water? There could be water in that one. And so I, by the end of the day, and mind you, I wear pretty strong contacts. They had already dried up. So I can't see shit in front of me. I got like 2800 vision. I can't see anything. I've pissed myself a million times, like the whole thing. Is just, but I finally am like, fuck, I'll do this whole life thing again just for a goddamn drink of water. But it was the thing that got me. It was water, hands down.
Sure.
Wow.
And we are little water beings. And so I crawled to the road, and I guarantee I am the thing that started the zombie movies, okay? Because I mean, okay, you got to understand, this had been split open for 40-something hours now, okay?
So you kind of look like Predator.
No, so it's open.
Yeah.
My eyes are as black because my nose, I've had 3 nose jobs to get it back to this. This was like smashed and just, you know what I mean? And so my eyes were as black. I had like cuts everywhere from all the glass. And I definitely couldn't walk or whatever. And crawling was even like this. And I just crawled up to the side of the road, and it was kind of tall grass. It was late summer, like tall, dry grass and stuff like that. And I'm just waving my arm trying to get somebody's attention, right? Like finally,
and people are still driving past you.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Finally, a woman, she's a city block away.
Yeah.
It's like, I've called 911. She ain't coming nowhere near me. She has no idea what the fucking scenario is. You know what I mean?
She's not ready to see all that.
No, she has no idea. She's just like, I'm calling 911. Someone will be there soon. And I know it's weird. However, for me, I am a very spiritual person, like at this stage in my life. I mean, I think that is what was the catalyst. But I know that the conversation between yourself and divinity is so insanely personal that it will always be impossible to completely articulate to anyone else.
Absolutely.
But there are things that happened. My skull was completely crushed in one area, and it healed. Like there are things that, and of course you took the acid the night before. It could be all these things. I don't care. I know, and that's the only thing I know is that I intentionally had asked what death was, and it was delivered to me directly. And also I asked, guess what? I want to return, and I want to be able to live the life I deserve to live, knowing what I know now.
Right.
And so I came back into the physical form. So with all that said, eventually somebody came, got me, I went to Harvard View. I lived there for a while, made national news because I was, I was missing from the military.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. People were looking for me. They didn't. Oh my gosh! And she was found 40-something hours later on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And the whole thing. And so
I crawled to the side of the road.
That's national newsworthy. That's rare.
So
especially in the 90s.
Yeah, especially in the night. Nowadays, there's so much you can see so much because we have access to it. But so I just remember that I was in Harvard View Medical because they had put it on the news. Somebody brought me a tree. Like people were coming to visit me. Yeah, because I hit a tree, so they brought a tree.
That's awesome.
Like there was.
Well, that's kind of weird.
No, it's awesome. Like if you really look, dude, I get it. It's fucked up, but it's awesome.
No,
I'm dark. Like if someone brought me a tree because I hit a tree, I would giggle. I'd be like, "Fuck you," but
I would giggle, but I would also cross them off my Christmas.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if something you don't know, right? Which is the better part.
No, there was tons of people who came to see, and the news was there.
That's like somebody took the piss.
You were a celebrity.
I was a celebrity
who couldn't move.
I know. No, so and when what was jacked up is that, of course, as soon as they rolled me in, the plastic surgeons came down and they're like, "That's been open for 40-something hours.
She's cooked."
So literally, and they didn't want to use, they didn't know if I was internally bleeding, but they were the first ones, and they literally shaved off. They went in with a razor and shaved off all the exposed. So they had to cut it again, and then they sealed it together, and my lips were like this. Yeah. Oh, no. They weren't trying to be pretty. They're like, if you want this to actually seal and you not to be cleft forever, we're just going to put it together. You can worry about how it looks later. We're just going to get it together. And it was jacked up.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like real fucking gnarly for a while. And then, yes, I had broke my back in 2 spots, and then I had crushed my calcaneus. This has 11 screws and 9 pins in it, right?
Jesus.
Wow.
But then the ribs, and then it was T11, 9, I don't know. It's two of them in my back had broken. Mm-hmm. And so I had to go into a body cast.
Yeah.
And and like a long-term 6-month body cast.
Jesus.
So yeah, it was like a no. This takes a long time to heal your back. It's like
Which there's a whole lot of cleaning and skin issues that are going to happen because of that, right?
Oh my gosh, it was my little Xena outfit, but it was an interesting time period. I was still in the military, obviously, and Harborview kept me for a while, and then they transferred me over to a military hospital to do more of the stuff, and then
did the drug thing never come up with the?
Not yet.
Okay, because I do remember drugs not being like cool with the military.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I went to the brig for a while.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I did the brig. Yeah. I did the brig for 45 days.
How did they find out that you were on drugs, though?
Well, no, that's not how it went down.
I've never heard this whole story. I knew bits and parts, and you
haven't heard the whole thing.
yeah.
No, I mean it's a good story.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, anyways, but this is to give it a little full circle. So I was laid up. I couldn't even go to any military anything for a while, and I'm not in trouble at this point. I just am healing, right? And so, and I'm living off base at the time, and so I'm literally healing in my bed, and my auntie, she comes to visit.
Sure.
It was a momentary. She came to visit. She literally brought me like a dollar store paint set. It was just a little El Cheapo. We got some paints. We got some brushes. But it was amazing because I was stuck. My arms and hands were fine, but my body couldn't. I couldn't do crap, right? So I was like, okay, I'll start painting. Now think about this. The only thing I can think about is this crazy thing that just happened.
Sure.
What else can I think about?
Right. So
I just met God. I just freaking met God.
You went to the source.
In that direction.
Yeah,
you're painting the source.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's the only thing I want. So I'd start painting. And interestingly, it would be satisfying, and it also felt like I could lean into that presence, which is beyond time, right? Which is beyond time and space, which is at the tip of the paintbrush, because you don't know what's coming out next. It's the only time that you're like, you think you might know, but it always is going to be a slight curve in it. You don't know the exact variation.
Sure.
So that presence I could meet there, and I was like, hallelujah, literally, right? It kind of became my sanctuary, my church of sorts, right? You know? And so I started painting, and I just, kept painting, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And then during this time, I am healing, and I have gotten moved to I'm doing some stuff in Bangor, but it's literally at like some weird facility. Nobody even knows that I'm in the military anymore. I'm just riding out the rest of my time. Right. Yeah. And they're just going to make sure that I'm healed. And then it's my 4 years anyway, so I'm getting out. And I have so much metal in my ankle. They're like, you do not need to walk on ships for the rest of your life. Right. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, during this time, the boat that I had been on has a major sting investigation, investigation. Okay. And this is after I technically am not on the boat. Everybody in the military that was on that boat that did not know that I was still, everybody thought I was gone, out of the military, had already medically exited, the whole thing.
So they're throwing you under the bus.
Every single one of them. I was the biggest drug lord, period.
Right.
I was the one that every single drug came from.
Wow.
I was the one that and it was insane. I still have those records. I have the records. I had 99 years on the books.
Jesus.
To be put in for 99, because I sold every drug possible in the military. Some of them, I was looking at it and I'm like, I've never touched that. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I was looking through, but I get why. It's because military law and civilian law don't cross over.
Yeah.
So it is a smart tactic.
To rat on the person that's no longer there.
That's not in there anymore. It protects everybody else. Like, I get why they did it.
Yeah.
I have no,
Yeah, it makes sense.
But so I thought I was going to have a nice little exit, and it did not quite work out that way. They told me they were coming to take the census.
Yeah.
And instead, they were coming to interrogate me, and they came and basically said, all of these people. It was a totally classic interrogation. Like, they threw the tapes on the table.
Oh,
and they're like, we got you on video selling drugs. To the
Right.
It was over the top.
Yeah.
And so fortunately, it wasn't quite as bad as it could be, because more or less, I had a perfect record. I had already been in long enough that I had the good conduct medal. I had already.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
I know, right? Exactly, yeah. So I had already, and so every person that I worked for actually showed up. Bless their souls.
Yeah.
They all showed up and they said, if she was doing drugs, we never knew it. Like she never showed any, she was a perfect attendant. She did this. She, got us out of Australia when the gyroscope went down, like all the things. And so, fortunately, they only gave me 45 days.
So essentially what happened is everybody ratted you out because they assumed you were gone.
Yep.
And then the powers that be were smart enough to realize that everybody had ratted you out because they assumed that you were gone for the most part.
I think a lot of them figured that out.
Yeah, and they were just like, okay, somebody's got to get punished.
My lawyer, which was
the military's big on that.
Yeah, somebody's got to get it. We'll give you 45 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I was on my way out anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the rest of the people,
it was clean.
Yeah, it was totally.
But
clean.
you would have gotten out with like fucking.
I know. Yeah, all the things. But
Pay.
But I did not, you know what they did? They did not give me a dishonorable discharge. They gave me a general.
Yeah. No, not even less than honorable?
No.
I know.
That's good.
The general.
I
know, which was pretty, but oh my gosh, at the court, I literally brought in paintings and I'm like, this is what I plan to do for the rest of my life. Like I literally. No, I mean.
You were becoming evangelical about it.
No.
Well, and they're looking at the paintings going, well, drugs.
Yeah. You're like, this is my new ministry. This is it.
They're like, hey, she was on drugs.
Give her 45 days and get her the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
So you went from convalescence to jail.
Which is so funny because the thing with military, especially in the brig, so there was, at the time, when I first got there was 3 women out of, I don't know, 100 people in there, say. And then by the time I left, I think there was just me. But we would have to go into isolation chambers in the evening. Right?
Right.
I mean, and that was for our protection. It wasn't because we were bad. It's just like, you got to go into your isolation chamber now.
Yeah. Can't be around the bunch of horny squids that are locked in here.
Having once been a young man in the military, I think that was a good idea.
No, it was smart. It was smart. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm Navy trash, right? So my family lives up in Oak Harbor.
Okay.
Right? I've seen the damage that young sailors do.
Yeah.
Oh, the best of us are feral.
I think at one point, and I think it pretty much still holds, like at one point, Oak Harbor was like, you guys aren't allowed to come into town anymore. Stay on the base.
Right.
And it literally drastically, like the Navy shrunk the base because of it.
Well, so this is a great segue to that we were talking about the dancing. So
Like Footloose?
So for me early on, I was still in the military, right? And I wanted a second. Tons of people had second jobs. So when we'd go out to sea, we'd have to work. But when we pulled in on a ship, we kind of just twiddled our thumbs.
Yeah,
we might fix a couple things, but in reality, most of the time we're just like waiting to go back out at sea. So most everybody I knew took on another job of some sort. They were hustling on the side.
Get a little extra money.
I mean,
military didn't pay a ton back then.
Of course not. And somebody like me who had the extra energy, I definitely wanted to go and do the thing. And I was under 21. And so you couldn't really get good tip jobs anywhere except for at a strip club. At a strip club. And so that was my entry initially.
So you were in the Navy and a stripper at the same time.
So, but I had to be real careful.
I was going to say, what is the legality?
That
was my question.
Where do navies go?
Where did I strip first? In Tacoma with the Army. Because the Navy won't go on to the Army base.
Oh, nice.
Because they won't.
Because they beef. Because they don't like each other.
Yeah, exactly. So that was fair territory over there. First, I actually no. That's where I first got naked. When I first the old Deja Vu, old from the Pink Car Elephant.
Yeah, you went like on a amateur night.
No. I was a waitress there for a while.
Oh yeah,
that's how it always starts.
Yeah.
That's how I legally
hostess.
did it.
Yeah.
Still in the military. I could do that.
Yeah.
It's just the getting naked because they own your body. So you should
Which is intense. Yeah, it's pretty intense. If you think about it that way.
Yeah, if you get a bad sunburn, you can be charged with destruction of government property.
Nice.
That was in the onboard briefing,
They were like, so when you go and get clapped, you know what I mean? Like, don't be going to any of them dark holes.
That's Uncle Sam getting clapped.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was definitely when we were in Thailand.
Yeah.
That was.
That's what I'm saying, right?
No,
Like,
that was the weird one though, because you'd see all the people from the military, and you'd be like, you do know that is a woman or that's a man, right?
Yeah.
That you're like, no, I think they know. I think
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
I think they're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to figure it out and then make a choice. One way or the other. The stripper by night, I'm assuming like E3, right? Or during the day,
Yeah.
right? Is like an 80s movie, right? She was a stripper by night and fought crime. And by day, she was in the Navy. She was a working girl. You're like sitting there with a really big wrench, wrenching on something. Yeah, that's great.
So that's wild. So you went through all that, and then the crash, and you go from convalescence right into being in the brig, and you're.
I did the brig. I did the 45, and then they literally kicked me out. Like from the day I exited the brig, I'm out.
Right.
I'm out of the military.
Yeah.
I got no more pay coming in.
Yeah.
And so of course I do. I immediately go to I become a dancer.
Yeah.
And the great thing about dancing, the most awesome thing about dancing is it was the most smart choice I could have ever made. The community, well, one, I went from like really tight outfit, all the cover up to and then hanging out with the bros to like hanging out with the girls.
Yeah.
It was definitely like deep and like naked, bearing all like us, and it's so it was the most perfect balance. And at this point, I am doing lots of surgeries on my face. It's dark in those clubs. Ain't nobody got to see much. You know what I mean?
You got to see enough.
Yeah. So I healed my body, did the thing. I got metal in the ankle, and by the time I got out, I started dancing, and I.
Was somewhere in there, was there like a newfound appreciation for being able to move your body and, in some weird way? Because your body went through a lot.
It went through a lot, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that I definitely had a newfound appreciation for my physical form in an entirely different way, but I also felt, because I used to rave, I always felt that like movement and dancing was part of the whole thing. And so now for a little while, that's going to be how I'm going to actually make some money too.
It must have been torturous to not be able to do that for so long, to be stuck in that.
Well, but that's when I started painting.
Yeah.
And so it was just a different outlet. Right?
Yeah, all that energy got focused into.
So the first thing I painted.
Because there's energy in your paintings. I think anybody trained or not trained or knew nothing about art would walk in and feel energy.
That's safe to say for sure.
Yeah.
So at this point, whenever I'm I'm still in the body cast and healing and the whole thing. Face, they can't even start doing plastic surgeries for like a year because your face produces so much scar tissue that it just would make no sense. If they did some plastic surgery, it's going to end up like being different anyways.
Right.
So they're like, you got to wait a year. You're going to look like this for a year, so just get used to it. And it was really hard. The rest of it I knew. I was like, at this point I knew it was going to heal, but I was my ego. I was like, I was a flower.
This is a weird question, but do you think that was helpful in court at all?
That I still was jacked up?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like you were in there, like you got to kind of have sympathy for that. You're just like,
I still
court. That's funny.
yeah, but I'm being real, right? Like
I did. I still had a body wrap whenever
totally.
No. He's absolutely right. But this was the thing that I.
That's what I'm saying,
the
right?
Vanity, for me, the vanity. I remember the first painting, like completed painting, not just kind of doodle. The first painting was definitely all psychedelic and all the things, but it had this beautiful woman's face in it, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, I don't have to be the flower. I can create flowers, right? Yeah. And that like literally took the weight off my shoulders, and I stopped that. Oh my gosh, the thing that made me like a girl is gone now. That's what it felt like, and instead I'm like, I can make the girl, And so that was like an interesting. Initial like working with my own ego, right? And trying to like, okay, how am I gonna get through this? But then obviously it's evolved into a million different ways since then.
Right.
But I started working with faces, and then whenever when I started dancing, what was awesome is that I would paint the girls.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I had these beautiful models all the time. And this is the best because I would paint them, and initially I used to gift them to them.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But as we all know, that industry it's a short window, and so you become a senior real freaking quick.
It's transient.
Right.
Yeah, but there are those staples, but you become a senior very quick. So all those women that initially got the paintings, they all became senior dancers, and the senior dancers had the paintings, and the new ladies would come in, they'd be like, I want a painting of me.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I'd be like, well, what do you think about $500? And they'd be like, I can make that in a couple hours.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Sure. That's
and
brilliant.
So it was actually, no, I give 100% full credit to the ladies who helped me get out of the industry as well. Because it's a
Yeah.
hard industry to get out of. But
Yeah.
I had a line of commissions. It was, they're the ones who gave me the wings to be able to go, I think I can take a jump, take that leap, right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it went from like a certain paycheck to a certain paycheck,
Right.
but it still was, oh wow, I'm going to survive as a painter.
I think that bears mentioning, right? I think that there's this like gigantic stigma. Damon and I both have talked about this frequently, is like sex workers in general. Mm-hmm. Some of my favorite people on the planet, ex-sex workers. And they're some of the most nurturing and loving people
Absolutely.
I've ever met. And I don't think that unless you've been in that life or been adjacent to that life, that people understand how close you guys.
We're so tight. To
Like,
the day, they're
to
still
this
my
day.
closest girlfriend. They're the ones I trust with everything.
Implicitly.
Well,
Yeah.
it felt like you had a kind of a dream team around you, though, too. Like you got placed into a pretty cool group of women. Because I mean, I know a pretty good handful
You
of
do.
them, at least peripherally.
Yeah.
Some better than others.
Yeah.
And there's not. And I've known enough dancers. And none of these are the bad ones. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They're all like
They weed them
really-
out, right? Nobody
They're
wants
all,
to. Yeah.
they're all good people.
They're all good. Yeah. You always used to be on the corner there at John. What was that? Like the John Olive.
Oh, that was Apocalypse Tattoo.
Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What years were you at Apocalypse?
That would have been like 2001, 2002.
Okay. So yeah, I lived on 420. Didn't smoke weed then, but I lived at 420 Belmont.
Yeah,
So I lived
yeah,
around
yeah.
the corner. So
Yeah.
I used to always see you there.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But then he would be in the club talking to the DJ. I'd
Oh,
be like,
yeah.
oh, that's homie from the corner.
Yeah.
down over there.
I saw him at Coffee Messiah the other day, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I don't know, between knowing the DJ there and knowing Josh,
Of course, Josh. I love
and
Josh.
I don't know, it's like my whole introduction to like the strip club world wasn't like everybody else's.
Yeah.
And then even when I would be out, I'd go in with like 20 tattoo artists.
Right.
And someone always knew someone in there. And there's just,
Sure.
you know, we were never walking in cold calling the place, you know. Like,
Yeah, Damon was in there like having a good conversation, just chilling, like
Yeah.
you know.
Mind his own business.
Yeah, no, he was minding
Doing what
his own
Damon
business.
does.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's fucking funny, dude. That's classic.
Awesome.
Do you think creativity comes from us or through us?
Yes, absolutely. Through us, from us, I think that the individualization of that creation is going to be perfectly unique to us. But I do think that creation itself is moving through us.
The reason I ask is like I've met a couple other people that have had near death or death experiences, or I can't say that I've ever had, apart from my own psychedelic experiences, which have been ample,
Yep.
right? like I have done what Terrence McKenna would call heroic doses
Absolutely.
of psilocybin and all kinds of hallucinogens in my life. I think that I've established a good baseline in myself for an idea of spirituality without having to. Me personally, I'm over scientific. I come from a scientific household.
Yep.
Or I should say I come from a house where intelligence is there.
Yep.
The idea of science was there. My dad is hyper intelligent. He's he's that guy. He bounced, but I was informed by it. And my mom also super intelligent, but she's a witch.
Okay.
So the way that I personally rebelled was by going deeper and deeper and deeper into like, if it's not science, it doesn't make sense, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I can explain everything,
Yeah.
yada, 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 yada. And eventually what ended up getting me with that is I can go back. First, we thought the universe was 3 billion years, and now it was 6 billion years. Now I think we're up to 16 billion years.
Right.
The point is, I can get us back to 16 billion, and then the argument falls apart.
Right.
Right. I can't find any science. So that opens up this space where I had to find some kind of faith. Mm-hmm. And in that faith, my spirituality is in there, and I feel like there's times where I have personally been high on psychedelics, and I found that some of that spiritual space, right? Yeah. All of that said, the point of it is, rarely do we get a chance to talk to somebody who seems authentically to have felt or seen or become aware or been in the presence of the source.
Who can also communicate it, in a way that's grounded and makes sense to people who may not have that experience.
Not only can communicate it, but has dedicated their life to expressing it.
Yeah.
So the reason that I ask is it's this thing. It's like, do you think it is the source coming through us?
I think that that's the thing, is that we can, as humans, will compartmentalize, and something that is so majestic and all-encompassing and beyond articulation is exactly that, right? Beyond articulation. Yet, so we can't be separated from it. So although it, like I said, the individualization is that's what's so
profound
and precious, right? That's what makes, because it is so unique in that way, and yet it's absolutely universal.
Yeah,
absolutely universal, and that's
it's
that's
like,
the paradox,
it's
right?
a piece of the universe experiencing itself objectively,
absolutely,
right? Subjectively, through you as this front-facing piece of it.
Exactly, and so I feel that, like, don't get me wrong. Whenever I create, I am trying to articulate the thing, but it is my gift to God. Right. That is, I'm doing it as a thank you for this experience, and this is as good as I know how to gift you.
See, that's,
this is...
That's really interesting, because my take of your art, and I had something that I wanted to bring up and kind of like this. Like, I thought it was more trying to take this piece and reveal it to people, but it's almost the other way.
I mean, I think... And once again, that's the whole symbiotic nature of it. That's the recognizing the divine within, in the other, whatever that may be.
It's allowing the other to recognize the divinity that you're giving back and forth.
And so that mirroring. But for me, I will say that, and I will say that the highest that I get now is when I meditate. Like I definitely have learned. That, wow, it's much trickier, and it's much less predictable, and you can't schedule it, because all the times I've really tried, it hasn't worked. But when I barely just, and then I'm like, oh.
It does, and I'm sure,
right?
I'm sure you've discovered it doesn't have to be as brutal as the tree.
And
right? Like, it could be with far less fucking gore,
which I think that is where religion has often tried to say, as having a savior, like that, somebody that can carry that weight for you, to be able to, like, pass that. You don't have to suffer. Guess what? You don't have to suffer, right? And
Suffering's your choice.
And some people, I'll tell you, after that experience, I had a much deeper, profound, now critical in some ways, but also respect for religion in trying to articulate something that is so beyond that, and how do you, there's the complexities of it all and everything. But in my work specifically, yes, ultimately it is that communion with divinity is why I do it. Now, I will say this, though. Because of my experimenting with psychedelics, and I've sat with ayahuasca, and ayahuasca is probably the closest I ever came to having my death experience again, right? Like, I feel like whenever
it's like a controlled death experience.
Well, it was interesting because where other people are over there getting well, having their
you're seeking
where I just walked kind of right in, and I'm like, okay, so that's just your own having, like, your own perceptions of your judgment that then you have to literally, like, evacuate from your being, right? So,
speaking of suffering.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so I remember with ayahuasca, I was like, oh, I get to go back into this realm again and I get to play and there's not a car accident. Oh, wow, this is amazing. And then I just still sit in, okay, and then I come back, and and there was like the lightness of it. I will say though, like I said, as I've dove in deeper into my meditation, it goes into that realm, but it also, it's interesting because it feels much more solid, because like any substance, you realize that you don't have to rely on it. Like it's not something, oh, where is it? Because then all of a sudden, what if you run out of it? What if we don't have it any longer, right? Sure. And so then that going in that route is very different. But I will say in my gallery, I am simulating a microdose experience.
Right.
And it's because the one thing that I will say about psychedelics is that they will suspend your belief, and that allows you to be childlike for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to,
well, and that's
everything is magical. It's all fucking magical and it always has been.
Sure.
Like the fact that we're spinning on a planet in the it's majestic. Look at that flower. Look at that freaking flower. And it's just like we got to like rub off our eyes.
Just thinking about the speed at which, we're moving, with the Earth spinning and then we're rotating around the sun and the sun's rotating around the galaxy and the galaxy's moving on its own. And we're going hundreds of thousands of miles an hour,
It's crazy. Have you ever had this experience where you're walking at night and you don't have to be high, but you look up at the moon and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, like you almost fall down because the gravity, no offense, the gravity of the situation, right? Smacks you and you're like, oh my fucking God, we're on a fucking planet in the middle of fucking, like, you're just like, what the fuck? Like the enormity of this idea hits you.
Exactly.
One of the most overwhelming experiences I ever had was pulling over on the side of the road in between here in California and sober as fuck.
Yeah.
And just got out of the car and looked up. And it overwhelmed me, and I got back into the car.
Wow!
Like it was like I didn't even have the presence of mind to like now. I think I would do it, and I would withstand that feeling to soak it in.
Breathe it in
but at that point in my life, I was just like, whoa, too much.
You don't even have. I don't have enough RAM. There's not enough computing power in there to try to actually compute that.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I was at with the science stuff. It's like it's easy to compartmentalize. The computation has been done, and I can point to that as solved.
Yeah.
Right. And not allowing that. But
there's always some element of magic that you butt heads against, and walking down the wow, science is cool path. And you're like, but I have no explanation for this.
But to be real, a lot of that science, I still hold fast to that. But a lot of it is gatekeeping bullshit that I just had to let go. I was literally robbing myself. Suffering is a very vain and personal choice.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think, and that not allowing for that space.
Once you become very conscious that you're conscious.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that simple, if you live in more the realm of just being unconscious daily, then suffering is a very easy part of it. Once you realize your own conscious, this is a conscious experience that I'm going into, then things start becoming more of a choice.
Yeah.
Then it is like, I can choose to suffer from this situation, or I can choose to either use it as a catalyst or move in a different direction, or all the things, right?
Well, and let's face it, most suffering is really recall or projection.
100%.
You're either
it's not present.
Very little of it is happening currently in this moment.
No, because
if we're in the moment, all those things are fleeting.
Exactly.
Well, and the cool part of it is like you get to this place where you're like, a lot of people are like, I just want to be happy. I just want to find joy. And it's like, I've found personally that if I'm in a place of contentment, I can allow whatever I'm feeling to come, and I can use it for whatever it's supposed to, right? Like if I'm feeling sadness, I can be like, oh, I'm sad for a reason. Why am I sad?
Exactly.
Blah, 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 blah. And then I can allow it to move through me.
Yeah.
I can identify it, figure out whatever lesson I'm trying to learn from it. And joy or happiness or anything, all of that stuff is the same way. I'm having a joyful experience. This is awesome. But I'm also content. The world isn't fucking burning down. I'm not suffering for the most part. That's pretty.
I mean, it's like the weather system. I mean, I maybe I'm just going to speak for myself, but I mean, I don't get me wrong. It's nice having it's summertime and it's nice having, but you get one of those cloudy days and you're like,
Sure.
you know, I mean, there's definitely so like just kind of having of feeling the emotions and the sensations and all the things of being. But if you're sitting in that presence, you're observing them, and in that observation, you can lean into them if you choose to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there are moments when I do need to lay on the floor and cry. I am an emotional creature, and I honor that. I honor the fact that I do lead with my emotions in many ways. And I think for a while, especially, feeling, I think it's a contradiction that like, the men and the women's kind of the two different worlds, it's a man's world, the whole thing. I think that both of us have had to be stifled in different ways. Like I think that women
we're relegated to spaces that we don't necessarily fully occupy.
So women, obviously, only within the last. I mean, me trying to find a women artist 100 years ago, right? Where were they? They were there.
Yeah.
Where are they? Because we sure don't find. We can't find them in the history books.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like so we obviously were not allowed to be in that. But in the same way, men weren't allowed to cry. Like
Right.
I feel like they have
or
been
really feel anything but anger.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
No.
like all
You
of
can
our
laugh or be
emotions-
pissed.
No,
Yeah.
they were.
and laughing.
Only so much of it.
Use that
yeah.
sparingly.
We've had our own suppressions.
Yeah, like totally.
We've
Yeah.
had
You
our
can
own
pepper with
Absolutely.
laughter.
We,
Yeah.
each have, and the great news is as our evolution, I mean, we could have conversations like this,
Right.
Right.
which I think is that brings in a little bit of all of it from all
Yeah.
different angles,
Absolutely.
and because they're all important.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think that that's one of the things that we've definitely tried to do with this show. And one of the original things that was a takeoff point is like this idea that man is this, man is that, man is this, it's alpha this, blah, blah, blah. And like some of the toughest, most dangerous, whatever the fuck that actually
Yeah.
means, able-bodied,
Yeah.
able-spirited men that I know are also some of the most vulnerable men that I know, right?
Absolutely.
Like, it's really funny to me. I've known a lot of
Well,
really-
real toughness means being able to feel things you don't want to feel
Absolutely.
and be okay, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
like-
that's courageous.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very
Well,
courageous.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was having this conversation with somebody this weekend. They were calling me from jail and they're getting sober. It's a long time friend of mine, right? And he's finally done. He's got his ass kicked.
Okay.
And I told him, I was like, look, dude, those dudes, because we came up in the streets together.
Yeah.
All those tough guys, scary boogeyman guys, right? They're bullies with guns because they're over emotional.
Yeah.
Right? They're all afraid of something. It's all just a bunch of fucking fear all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and people like look to emulate that like it's some kind of fucking standard in manhood, and it's not. Those dudes are fucking cowards.
No, it's all. It's like sliding a piece of fear into a projector, and it projects up anger. You know?
Absolutely.
Like it's just that's
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like the quickest way for me to channel anything. We've talked about this. Like there's
And I was raised like that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I mean,
totally.
that was all I knew.
totally. Well,
for
I mean,
much of my life.
we
you
were
know?
raised societally by that, by movies, by TV, by fucking
Absolutely.
every theme we ever, took in.
I also knew I had this artist in me that contradicted what I'd been, you know. So
Yeah.
so there come some questions, you know, that took a
Well,
while.
it gave you space to fucking
Yeah,
explore
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, you have been a long-term friend of my wife, and like, there's no real reason to ever be mad at her, right? But I've talked about this openly. Like, there's times that I've like been sitting on the bed next to her, and like I look at her and I'm like, I love you so much. I'm fucking mad
Yeah.
because I have no because I've been taught that all my emotions need to go through this
Right.
fucking anger channel, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you're just feeling a lot. That's
yeah, I'm
what-
feeling a lot, and it's scary, and I can't let anybody know that I'm feeling this. So
Yeah.
now I got to put it into the anger box, and then I would start fights and be an asshole, right? And then I would have to like, run that back and
That's
figure it out.
interesting. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so great example though. I mean, so my husband is, he is grown. We've both grown, to be
Yeah.
fair,
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
relationship. We've both grown. And if it was 10 years before, we both were like, we might have killed each other.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely
Yeah.
like later in life thing. But I have, it's a both ways. Like I'm sure, all he has to figure out with me. But with him, it's interesting because he definitely like the anger, like in the car, will flip on like for rage.
Everybody's
driving.
rageful in the car.
Not me.
I'm not.
Are you serious?
I'm grandma.
I haven't been in a long time.
I'm
Like
smelling
10
the
years.
flowers.
That's crazy.
I am like grandma. I'm looking at. I'm like, oh, look. Oh, go ahead. I'm so grandma. But he is the absolute opposite. But
Unhealed.
different.
I am unhealed.
But when I look at him, I have figured out, because like obviously he's Polish or whatever, the descent there. I just imagine looking and seeing. I just see kind of like the Viking in him. And I'm like, for years, like through DNA lineage, they were trained
To kill,
so when I watch him in this space, it's so amazing to have, not to take it personally in any freaking way, to realize that it is just years of way deeper in his DNA than and he does
millennia.
He does amazing. He does amazing of like also being aware. But initially, of course, in the beginning, especially in any relationships, you're just like, is it me? What did I do the thing? And then I just started realizing, oh, no. This is him processing his emotion where however many, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, they trained to use every ounce of that to go kill the thing, whatever it may be, right?
Well, and there's some, and not to get off track, but there's like some deep speculation that like maybe some scientific stuff has come out, and I might be talking out of my ass, but I've definitely read some of it where they are now linking alcoholic behavior and that same type of like that we are going to kill.
Yep.
And we're going to do it under fucking pressure. And we are going to be, we are going to solve the fucking problem. Right.
Right.
Like most fighter pilots in World War II were all alcoholics.
I just told you the
Do you know what
Royal
I mean?
Navy. The Royal Navy actually got a ration of alcohol until the 74.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because it was like, it's this thing where it's like, we will commit.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, and this is why I'm trying to say, if you think about it, there's a reason that we made it here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's all this big, natural selection. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a reason that this genetic marker for this thing is existing in so many people. There's a reason that rage exists in so many people is because we killed our way here. Well, right? Violence has always been the main form of currency, right?
Well, and it's an interesting thing though, because when you do start talking about consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And that literally coming into a conscious behavior and a conscious reality. So think of the eternal. Then trying to, and who knows how many times, in how many different forms, in how many different planets, in how many different, coming into, let's bring consciousness into the dense material realm. Right?
Sure.
And like, how do we do this in something that is designed to decay and die?
Yeah, it's cumbersome.
Like, it is only temporal, no matter what. Like it is going to. This is all. There is no matter. Nothing truly matters because it's all going to.
It's all vibrating.
It all will dissolve and do its cycle.
All energy.
And so first, even coming into that own. Okay, now the first initial stage is that let's just eat, ship, procreate, like keep the cycle going. Like let's, okay, how are we gonna like?
Well, and most of human history is that,
right? Absolutely.
It's like these areas where we have comfort and time to
think
ponder and think, and that's fairly small and recent.
Exactly, and so we are living in that moment where it is literally like the tip of the paintbrush, though.
Right.
I mean, we're literally in that conscious space where we know the abilities of what we are, and then where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, where do we know what we can do, we know what we have done,
and
and
also what sense does that stuff make in modernity?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like we're in this really tight spot of like now the amount of information that we're taking in is like exponentially larger than at any other time in the entire fucking,
just within our lifetime.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean, just how many things, I mean, the
amount of choices that we have to make, right? And an hour.
Well, that we are compelled to make.
Well, sure,
right.
but,
I know, we don't have to.
We don't have to.
Right.
Literally, you can put this thing down for weeks.
And you're right.
I know.
But take that aside. The amount of choices that we have to make to go to the store and get groceries.
Oh, yeah.
that amount of choices, like driving the car, taking the turn, waiting, like just that amount of choices in a 2-hour span has to be, I don't know, like fucking months
And
worth
most
of choices.
of them are autopilot. Most of them are autopilot at this point,
100
right?
years ago.
Yeah.
We're inundated constantly with other people, right? Like here, and choices and choices and choices. And then like...
Well, that's been going on for a long time because we've always gotten together in groups and, I mean...
but we could always go back to the farm. Or we could always get space, right?
If you lived on a farm.
Fair.
I mean, the Amazon jungle has grown over megacities.
Sure, fair. Yeah, fair.
The jungles in Southeast Asia have grown
There you
over
go.
megacities.
Yeah.
The Egyptians built megacities.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been some crazy,
You're absolutely correct.
We come together.
But
now, on a technological
that's what
level,
I'm saying. My pushback would be in cars.
Yeah, but I'm saying still that decision to go to the store when you're
fair enough.
It's 4,700 years ago. You're in the Cairo area, and you've got maybe 500,000 people around, and you want to, you still have to make a bunch of decisions because you got a bunch of other people.
For sure.
Yeah, and one of those bazaars is no small amount of decisions. By the way,
Absolutely. The technological space, though, and
it's an intersection that definitely there's. It's an interesting turn. So that
you're absolutely correct. Though I would agree 100%.
That is where I know that
I love to be contrarian.
Yeah, but it's right. You're right to be contrarian.
I feel that was what everybody talks about the Mayan calendar, like the 2012. That's what I feel the prediction was technology, 100%. Like when you start when you start actually studying it and looking at all their different, it looks just like tech. That's like that was the change.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen now when you do your next trip?
I'll be in Bolivia. I'll be at the heart of the birthplace of the Mayan civilization in Bolivia.
Yeah.
Which ought to be interesting. It's I guess my point would be all of that, and then this choice of violence, which was so ready to be a thing in all of history to this point.
It's a boring story, and we might have to live it another few thousand years, but it's freaking boring. You know why? Because it always plays out the same fucking way.
But you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? So like okay.
We have to reserve this violent piece that's there. I'm not saying that we should be doing violence all the time, but
it might have to run itself out.
Yeah.
And it might, and I know it's not going to be healed in my lifetime, and I know that.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? But it will have to burn itself out until it is like, oh, it's the same ending every freaking time. That's actually not that freaking interesting. You know?
No, 100%. And we have to see it now that the world has changed. We have to see it.
We're all going to die, so we're going to just kill each other earlier. It's
being in that transitional place is it's just like,
well, especially in the kind of conscious. I mean, I think that's part of the tensions that we're feeling now and the polarities that we're feeling now. I mean, everybody's had it throughout their different time periods, but I do think that this particular one is very much that conscious awakening of just fully being conscious of what we're doing, where I don't think that we were before.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of it was patterning and habitual, and and just even being able to think on your own as an individual, but also just as more like on a planetary level, where it really is. We're all starting. Don't get me wrong. There's different tribes that still don't even touch technology, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But
speaking of the Amazon,
but in general, like I said, time is such an illusion. Like our 100 years, if we're blessed to live that long, in these bodies, our 100 years is so tiny. It's such a little. Time. Okay, think of it this way. I always think about this. Is my favorite. When I see a hummingbird.
Yeah.
Talk about evolution.
Yeah.
When I see a hummingbird, it's a dinosaur. From 250 million years of evolution that now just sucks nectar out of a freaking flower. But it went 250 million years. And you know how long 250 million years is?
a blip.
It is the same amount of time it takes our solar system to go around the galaxy one time, just once.
Right. Yeah.
Just once. Yeah. That 250.
Yeah. One galactic year.
For the dinosaur to go through the raptor stage and all the stages to become the little hummingbird. You know what I mean? So I always have to look in the bigger picture that burning that when are we going to finish our raptor stage? I don't know. It might take a while.
It might take a while.
I mean, I do believe that we're destined to suck nectar, but I don't know how long it's going to take.
We're destined to suck nectar.
We're definitely going to
I've been there a couple of times.
we're definitely
I don't mind it, you know. Yeah.
We're definitely going to be raptors in a trench coat for a while. Like, you know what I mean? No, I'm a human.
Raptors
I'm a
in a
human. I
trench
swear to God. I'm fucking deep.
Exactly.
I got deep stuff going on up here.
100%.
Okay, so all that deep stuff going on up there makes me think about you got to spend some time with Alex Gray, right?
Okay.
Like, you
Yeah.
know?
Speaking of,
Speaking of, well, you know, I'll bring it back to.
I mean, I got to paint with him once, and you were there,
Yeah.
and hang out with
He
him.
loved you.
And he was a really cool dude, man.
He's chill.
Like I'm not like I like his work, but I'm not super into it. But fuck, man, what a good guy.
He's
you know?
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he's the greatest. He's sweetest. He's
Enjoyable to be around,
He's like a
you
kid.
know?
He's fun.
Yeah.
He's playful. Genius. His wife is amazing. Now I know that she kind of has rapped as being tough, but I think she's his protector.
No,
Like,
she's in what little I saw, she's clearly a valuable part of that team, you know.
Well,
and it works that well because of both components, you know.
she's amazing. And I
Yeah.
will say, of the two, and she knows this, and Alex knows this as well, they both paint.
Yeah.
And she has the painting that I love the most.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So the realms of the unpronounceable. It's my favorite painting in the world, probably.
Yeah.
It is the most mind-bending painting I've ever experienced in real time. And the
Cool.
thing is that Alex knows that she's deep in her own very specific way.
That makes sense.
He does it in a way that maybe articulates and translates to people because of the personification of things.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where she is what people would consider more abstract, but in reality, she is painting realms or frequency in an entirely different way that not everybody is going
Is
to
this a painting I can look up on
Oh, yeah.
what's it called?
The realms of the unpronounceable.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm going to look it up too.
Yeah, it's and the thing is you've got to zoom in. It's microcosmic. It's so like the microcosm realm of it is just insane. Did you find it? The realms and the unpronounceable? No?
Yeah, I found it.
Let me see. That's done by hand. And you
Yeah.
can just keep zooming in. And she did that by hand, which is just
Yeah, it's pretty great.
my brain is just every time I see it and I'm in the presence of it, obviously like any art, once you're standing in front of it,
Sure.
it has its own. Did you find it as well?
I think so. This
Yeah.
is gonna take more.
No,
than,
anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There's a lot of computing power that it takes.
Yeah.
Well, and it looks like there's a lot of versions of it. Like other people have done some.
oh,
and,
interesting.
like,
So originally we had all painted in we went to it was a Jimi Hendrix tribute in Queens, and somebody that worked on Alex's staff had me come and live paint there. But I think the first time that I originally met him face to face was actually at Burning Man, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I think it was
yeah.
his first Burning Man, and unfortunately I didn't get to meet Allison that time, but I did get to meet him there. And then I did all these murals down in Mexico.
Right,
I did them down
right.
in Chichen Itza about the Mayans.
Nice,
They had
yeah.
translated the Mayan Bible to me, and they said, "Can you create these murals about the
They
Mayan?"
translated the Mayan Bible to you.
Yes.
How did they
Fuck, that's
contact
awesome.
you?
What's that?
Who contacted you to do that?
Oh no, I went down there with pure intent. So in a 2012 or 2012 was coming, and it was like 2010, 2011, probably that winter in between. I went down. I had just done some murals in upstate New York, and I had made a little bit of cash, and I took that money, and I know you can get a lot further in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I went down to the Yucatan, and I started really authentically just in Cancun. I went to Cancun, but I didn't go to the tourist Cancun. I went to the real downtown of Cancun.
No, the town of Cancun is really awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I
yeah.
went into the town and I said, I want to dedicate or give you a mural. I want to gift you a mural. And it was my authentic interpretation of what I felt was happening with the Mayan calendar. Right?
okay.
And I did it and that's where I've learned to lead with my heart.
Yeah.
Because I feel as long as you are truly going in with that, that is when it unfolds in the most magnificent
Yeah.
way. And so it did. I painted this mural, and I got to meet all the people, and somebody came and said, you need to go to Playa del Carmen. And I'm like, okay. So I go to Playa del Carmen. Same thing. There's this place called Maria Sabina. She was the original mushroom shaman, right?
Okay.
The one in 1953, Life magazine did.
Okay.
And it's a huge, Maria Sabina is the original. You only went to her for healing. It had
Okay.
nothing to do with taking mushrooms for anything except for that if you had an emotionally or like intellectual, you go in there to heal your wounds.
Yeah.
Right? So
I heard a thing, because I'm researching my upcoming trip to Bolivia, and they're working with a shaman, and he talked about sometimes when things are mentally wrong in the head, that his and like their cultural idea is that your soul has been separated from your body. And like literally part of the ceremony boils down to, and he was kind of playing with the idea at this point. He's like going, come on, over here, you know, like,
I love that.
And it was just interesting, just
That's
this
so
whole
cool.
other perspective of how to handle psychological problems, you know, because that's what they're talking about. They're talking about depression, anxiety, those
Exactly.
kind of things.
Well, and that's what Maria Sabina
Trauma,
would do. So this place called Maria Sabina, it was like a hotel hostel space, right? You could go and stay. I ended up, they asked me specifically, they're like, can you do some Chichen Itza paintings? And so I had to do a little bit more research, and I was painting there. And then when I painted that one, that's when they came, a gentleman came and said, we would like you to come to Chichen Itza. We have a place deep in the jungle, and we would like you to do some murals. And so, and by that time, they brought me out there. They translated all the information. I was there for, I don't know, at least 3 months. And
Were you painting these murals for free, or were you?
I was
paid?
room and board, and I was living at a resort. So I had,
yeah.
no, it was awesome. It was everything
Yeah.
because I had already had a little pocket cash.
Yeah.
And so as long as room and board was covered,
Well, pocket cash
good.
goes a long ways
yeah,
down there.
I'm totally good.
And especially the farther away from that resort you get, the more
Exactly.
you know, I mean,
So I lived there, and I did these murals. It's the first time for another podcast at another time, it's the first time I ever think I saw aliens.
okay.
And so I did the murals, and I guess Alex and Allison later in 2012 were there and saw the murals. And then that's when they contacted me and they said, come talk to us. We want to talk to you. And so then we became friends. And,
That's awesome.
And so since then, I go there, as often as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, for those people at home that don't know who Alex and Allison Gray are, definitely look them up. I mean, I think a lot of people would probably be familiar with Alex Gray's work
From Tool.
from Tool.
Well, and that's
Right.
so when I danced and I loved Tool,
Yeah.
I didn't know who Alex Gray was. I had no idea
Yeah.
who Alex Gray was,
Yeah.
and I remember one of he wasn't a DJ, one of the door guys was like, "Your work is like Alex Gray's," and
Right.
I'm like, who the hell is Alex Gray? And they're like, the Tool album cover.
Those were some pretty fucking mind-blowing album covers, especially for the time.
Absolutely.
Right, I had never seen anything like it.
And what was wonderful is that when I got into the realm of the COSM, as they call it, Chapel of
Right.
Sacred Mirrors.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I was free to talk about my death experience, and especially having been on a psychedelic.
Do you want to, for people who might not know about COSM, do you want to
Well, the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors.
flesh that out a little
I'd
bit?
always heard both of those terms. I didn't realize it was an acronym until just now.
There you go.
Thanks for
yeah,
that.
Yeah, there we go. So the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors originally started in New York. And unfortunately, I don't go back that far, so I didn't get to experience it in New York, but I heard that it was amazing.
Sure.
Alex and Allison have always had a beautiful, they also believe that they met God on acid, together. And that was how they knew they were meant to walk their path and the whole thing.
dope.
Yeah.
And they ended up Alex created this, the chapel of, it was the Sacred Mirrors. So, and it was different paintings that then you would walk through, and see the physical expression, literally the physical form. And he did like bodies in, in every ethnicity, right? So that you could mirror and see your version of yourself in that form. And then it would slowly kind of dissect the different layers of your physical form. Because, Alex worked in a morgue for a while.
Sure.
So he actually like knows the autonomy or,
Anatomy.
thank you, of everything.
Yeah.
Of all. And so he's brilliant artist in that way, but breaks that down. But then it goes more into the spirit realm, right? And so it's your energetic body and how energy moves through you and all of that. And Allison had kind of seen it. She was the one who pushed him to kind of navigate in that direction. Was like, no, this is the thing. Like she saw it, and sure enough, that is what became the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. And so then they eventually bought property in upstate New York. And what's really cool is that it used to be a church. Like
Nice.
on that. Well, and before that, it was actually Native American. Like it was kind of their own Native American land for a church of their own sort. So it's always had this
got
spiritual
a long sacred history.
Exactly.
And a sacred persistence about the space.
Those are good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
even more so. And they do. They have people from all over the world come and literally like sing their song, paint their paintings, and do their best work there. Like I've seen some.
That's dope.
So now they've opened what's called Entheon, which is a visionary museum, basically.
Cool.
And that's and it's open. They're still working on it. The facade on the outside is going to be more magnificent than probably anything we have in the United States. As far as the intricacies of it, just like really, well, because we're using modern technology. And I only say that because now you can do these crazy, but you have to use the right materials. That's why it's very tricky. But doing like 3D printing in sculpture for buildings.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
So
yeah,
then
yeah,
you can do stuff that you've never been able to do
I know
before.
what you're talking
right?
about. I'm somewhat
Yeah.
familiar. I own a construction company. So I build stuff and I, like all people, I subscribe to weird pages and shit.
Right.
Like,
You're very specific.
of that type of shit,
Yeah.
right? Like it's something that I'm interested in. So I've seen all kinds of weird 3D printing of buildings and like some of the science that's going that way. It's some cool shit.
Yeah. No, it's definitely if and it's a cool train ride from the city. So like if you're in New York City, you just Grand Central and hop on a train and you can be there in 2 hours. And
That's dope.
Cool.
And then you can walk literally from the train to it. And
cool.
it's totally worth seeing for sure.
And we don't have to go further, like fully down the rabbit hole for we could do a different podcast about it. But like something that has caught my ear a couple of times in this conversation is you have talked about aliens, right? But not just that. Like one of the things you talked about when you were talking about having your death experience is realizing that we were all interconnected. And maybe this is my own bias or my own blind spot that I need to work on, right? But one of the things that I have had a hard time kind of wrapping my head around is like, I think it's the science part of me, right? Like, okay, so this thing evolved over there. It's its own capsule thing over there, right? We are both living beings. There's probably a kinship there certain ways. They probably breathe oxygen as well. Do you say that you've seen it to where we are spiritually tied to them? So do you think that everything is spiritually tied to one source? Do you think there's multiple sources?
I think it's beyond the comprehension of what I do. I think that to unify it is the simplification of it.
Absolutely.
I do think it's all interconnected, but there's probably a
billion faces.
billion microcosms of the how do you describe God? How do you describe the eternal?
I understand.
In the sense that our minds can, we often even personify anything because that is it's the only thing we know.
Yeah.
So it's
We have
got
to define.
And it's a great example of like, so okay, Sasquatch. Let's talk Sasquatch just for a second, okay?
Sure.
So
He's a
in order for and especially in this area, right?
Yep.
In order for Sasquatch to be real, and we're talking science. We're going to talk science for a second.
Sure.
It would have to be at a scientific level that a being such as a being that's living on this planet could smell us from 50 miles away. We don't know what that is, but literally could smell us coming from that
That would be
far.
the science, though.
That would be the science on the scientific level, right? And that's a concept we might be able to jump on. We might be able to only because our dogs can smell shit we never could.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we can kind of go, huh? Okay, and that is such a tiny baby step. That's just a little bit of the expansion of our own conscious
Or
awareness.
suspension of our bias.
Exactly.
Sure.
There you go. That's a better way to put it. But absolutely, to think, and that's minuscule. Like in order for us to literally jump planets, that obviously is a whole nother. And I don't know for sure, although I feel like I do. I feel like within my own being that I know enough to know that there is definitely way more out there than our egos like to grasp onto.
I agree with you. I'm of the school that my personal belief is there's a probably vast amount of different whatever being interdimensional.
We know 20% of the ocean.
Yeah, for sure. And
I have some thoughts about the multi-dimensional interconnectedness of things.
Okay.
And
Let's hear it.
so like because we're in 3 dimensions.
Yes.
And
Sure.
4 if you count time.
Right.
But because we're in these 3 dimensions, we can see a projection of 2 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
One, you kind of have to imagine because it's still kind of like it's just the one, you know.
sure, yeah.
But and we can interact with other 3-dimensional objects,
Right.
You know. Now, like, so to imagine more dimensions than that would be kind of like to take a step back and be like, I'm a pixel.
Yeah. Right.
And
Okay.
you know, and so now that pixel can't see outside of its
Exactly.
flat
Pixelation.
to what it can see is things that interact with it. And so a higher power for a pixel is a person.
Yeah.
And a person can interact with that and like and when I'm like if I'm physically interacting and I'm putting my finger through the pixel's world, the most it's ever going to get from me is a line.
Sure.
Yeah.
Damon is a line.
Yeah.
Damon is 4 lines.
Right.
Damon is a long line. Damon is a short line. You know?
Yeah.
Damon is a horizon.
And it has a lot of different perspectives on me because sometimes that line is my eyeball and sometimes it's my teeth or whatever.
Sure.
And so for us to try to imagine the multi-dimensional, I mean, there are those magic moments where in some kind of like psychological or meditative, like our brain has some access to that wavelength, but no clear pictures,
Sure.
you know?
Absolutely.
And so we're
It's-
trying to extrapolate the identity of what we're seeing through those lines of different parts of things, kind of.
You actually articulated it better than
That-
most
that was
have. That was only
pretty
because
great,
the
actually.
few
I've
experience.
spent a lot of time thinking
No, no,
about it,
it's-
and picking some of that stuff up from other.
Yeah,
but
sure.
but the idea of trying to imagine more dimensions than we live in is just so fucking cool.
And people talk about the shadows sometimes, and like that, like, you know, that you can
Yeah.
only see the perception. But all the times that I've had, I will say this: all the times that I've had alien encounters, it's been more like that, where it's nothing so solid, but it's also like this should not be happening. This is and so something is interfering in this dimension of some sort that is not equating to what should calculate, as you talk about. Because I still do have a scientific mind in the sense that I do want to know why. I always want to know. I always want to know what is happening, and is this actually real?
One of my scrolling questions that didn't get asked because they're always scrolling
It's yes.
was, do you believe aliens are multidimensional? More dimensions than
Extra dimensional as opposed to extraterrestrial.
Well, and or both. You know?
yeah.
I mean, the universe is so big that if someone's going to get here from very far away within any conceivable type of lifespan,
I think they are.
Yeah.
And I think that there is an interplay with them. The quick example is the thing that happened in Chichen Itza was a very it was the whole, you see the thing in the sky, doesn't make any sense. This can't be happening. Oh my gosh. And I'm in the middle of nowhere and this, blah, 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 the whole thing.
Totally.
The next morning I wake up Okay, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I saw aliens,
Right.
And the next morning I wake up and I told you I wear contacts, so I don't have my contacts in. I get up, I'm staying in this really nice hotel. And doing these murals, right? And I get up. I have 2 beds in the room. One I sleep in, the other one I throw my clothes on.
Yeah.
I get up. I am going to go to the bathroom as we do in the morning, and I look over, and I'm like, something is all over my clothes from the day before. I had like dark pants, and I could tell something was over. And I like get my face right up close to it, and it is covered in baby scorpions, like covered. And
Oh,
I
no.
was, and
I hate it when that happens.
I was like, oh my gosh. And my brain is doing all the math I possibly can of going, how do baby scorpions happen? Is there a sac that the thing, and then or is it a mama that like a spider does, or is it the whole thing? And I'm like, I don't know. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm on the 2nd floor, and I'm like, and I'm very Buddhist in the sense that I don't kill flies. I don't kill anything, right?
Sure.
I don't know what to do. And so I I go and I lift up one of the legs, and there's one of those gigantic down in Zihuatanejo or Chichen Itza, like they do,
Yeah.
like big, gigantic. She is big mama, and she is covered in them. Okay, coincidence? It all happened. Do you know that I forgot about the aliens all fucking day? Like I
Wait,
literally,
sure.
I literally, it wasn't until like that nighttime that I was like, oh yeah, I had an alien experience. And like,
Well,
Well, you had one in your room too.
That
right?
scorpion experience,
Was
I mean,
pretty
they're pretty
alien.
alien.
Yeah, totally.
no, I mean, but it was interesting. I did contemplate, like you had just described, though, if there's interference, how it interacts in this dimension.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
did that come for, like, what? Why? I don't know.
Was
Anyways,
it to try to run some kind of interference between you and what you had perceived?
or, yeah, who knows?
Well,
Who
and
knows?
that's
Yeah.
one of the things that's like with the Bigfoot thing or like aliens or whatever. A lot of that stuff and how we perceive is what I would guess that it's intuitive and interoceptive, right? So you're feeling it in a visceral way, right? Like there's a lot. The further I go on in recovery, oddly enough, like I've worked really hard. My sponsor is one of these people that it's like, we're going to work really hard on your intuition and we're going to work really hard on your interoception, like understanding things viscerally, your body's telling you things,
Yeah.
understanding them and being able to cope and develop coping skills before you even react to them or
Absolutely.
respond to them with your brain. You can bring your
Totally
whole
coping.
system down.
Yeah.
And he's like, you'll be shocked at the amount of things that you actually perceive when you allow those systems to do the work. And I can only imagine how massive that, like someone like yourself, who
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
has had this massive death experience that kind of forced you to this place where most people have to strive to get there, right? Not that you haven't had to work
No,
on
no,
it.
no, 100%.
Right,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that you're probably a antenna, like an open satellite receiving this type of shit, right? So
Well, and Lord knows how long we as humans have been reliving this script, because, I mean, really, the Egyptians, I mean, somebody saw something.
yeah, they were.
You know
onto
what I
some
mean?
shit,
Like
yeah.
when you, I mean, either the Blue Lotus was really good, or
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely like that is some alien stuff. It's you don't think so? I did. You're not on it.
I'm
No.
not on the. I agree with Damon on this one.
You know what I think?
Tell me.
I think that our DNA is deteriorating.
Okay.
I think we are dumber than they were.
I would agree.
I think the modern idea is that
We're getting
is that we're somehow getting better and better and better and better all the time. And while we may be changing and adapting, I don't know, man. Deterioration's kind of a thing,
Entropy.
Like,
It's the second law. Second law of thermodynamics.
And I think they were really fucking smart. And honestly, like Egypt doesn't even.
yeah.
Right.
That what gets me is
Samaria?
is Peru.
Peru is one
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Those, I mean, I've stood next to like 500-ton blocks that were at the weirdest angles and placed right into and then just seen walls like hundreds of meters long going back and forth of this naturally earthquake proof, possibly thousands of years old, and then those stones were quarried on the other side of that Andes Peak. And the Andes Peaks are like
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah, the Alpine.
And the site I'm at is at 12,000 feet.
But the thing is that your theory makes sense, though, in the sense that we can't think our way out of it. So say that this is a school. There's no thinking our way out of it. So us trying to become smarter it's not going to work.
Sure.
It's actually the stopping of the thoughts.
You're getting further.
It's the
and
only
further.
thing that is actually going to bring us into that presence that is connected then to the eternal, right?
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And so in many ways, dumbing, absolutely, the dumbing of the down. Have you heard of this is one of the ones that always gets me. Have you heard of the cocaine mummies?
Yes.
Cocaine, I like it.
Yes,
I'm ready.
cocaine.
I'm ready to party with them.
Well, the cocaine mummies.
Actually, I'm not ready to party with them.
Mummies just like changes history. It's like one of those things that kind of got covered up.
Okay.
I mean, you could do your own research, and I'm
a
sure
lot of shit gets covered up.
Well, so when they were uncovering the mummies and doing, there was a couple scientists. It wasn't just one. It was like a couple scientists that had done some experiments on some of the mummies that they found in Egypt, and they had cocaine. And which doesn't the story?
Coca leaves don't grow.
So
It was
meaning
a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
It was like a high rate of cocaine.
And so meaning that somebody was already, which we know, somebody was already crossing that
Oh, yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? That there was already both. It's just the problem with a finding like that. It
Old people and
uproots-
floating objects have existed forever.
It uproots all of like how
That's
many
true. Yeah.
how many history books at that time
Yeah.
specifically? This was I think it was found in the 80s or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
How many history books at that point would they have to go? Okay, well that's obsolete.
I don't want what I'm about to say to be relegated to like these conspiracy goons.
Yeah, just say it.
Right.
Who cares?
To be clear, like that's one of my with the science thing, I get further and further away from trusting academia because they like to remain the ones that seem intelligent. And if any new information is given to people in academia, they're quick to be like, oh no, this doesn't fit into the thing that I wrote, and then he wrote, and then he wrote, and so now this goes over here. I think that's bullshit. I think there's a lot of things that can be easily explained away that people blow up into gigantic conspiracy theories, but I think there's some things. Change pushes it pushes the meter, it pushes the dial, it pushes us forward, and academia has become an echo chamber of their own ideas recycling again and again and again.
Well, I think one of the biggest dangers we run into in exploration is this strong, overwhelming desire to have an answer.
Sure.
You know, I
That's
mean,
it.
That's
really,
it.
like,
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy seeing all these ruins all over the world that are 3 to 10,000 years old, you know, and walking away going, yeah, I still don't know.
Exactly.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm interested in any new information, but I really
I don't need to know.
I've walked away from them all going, I have some ideas.
That's the greatest thing about aging. And
Yeah.
not that everybody does. But
You're
the
right.
but the greatest
The
thing
internet has showed us a lot. People
yeah,
don't, yeah.
but the greatest thing about aging is actually finding the surrender of I don't know.
Yeah.
And in that I don't know.
And there's joy in there.
There's so much joy
There's
in
so
it.
much joy.
Because once I know, the curiosity's cut off, and curiosity is the spice, right?
Absolutely.
So, like, if the longer I can not know, the more curiosity I can experience, and the more information I can accept, and
Yeah.
the more joy. And
I can probably speak for all three of us. We all probably at one stage in our life definitely were we've got to know it all.
Yeah.
We've got
Oh,
we've
not
got to
only
be
did
the
I
know it
have to
all.
know
We've
it
got to
all.
be the know it all,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Dude.
and then
was
it's-
convinced
It was
that I did at
insufferable.
some
Right.
I was
point.
insufferable.
At some point, I have arrived. I now know it all.
Yeah, totally. Did you know that? Just hold on, I'll tell you. Like, one thing that I've always preached, there's that whimsical, and I mean that in the pure whimsy idea of I don't know being this beautiful thing where we could maintain curiosity in a whimsical way. But like there's a very practical use of I don't know. I don't know is a position of power.
Yeah.
Right. And I used to tell my guys that who worked for me for years. I don't know is a position of power. The moment that you can admit I don't know is the moment we can start working on the fix.
100%.
Do you know when I don't know happens? Always.
Oh yeah.
Right now.
Right now. Yeah, exactly.
It didn't happen. It's not going to happen. I don't know is happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
You know what I mean? You're present.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Well, and that's-
you're
Here I am.
responsive
Yeah.
to your surrounding when you don't know.
And that's when I found the most miracles happen.
Absolutely.
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 Because it gives the space for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not attaching to that outcome that isn't turning out perfect anyways.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's totally different direction.
Yeah.
Detachment from outcomes is something that I've been actively practicing for a number of years with some success at different times, more and less. And it is
Intuition opens up.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given in my life.
Yeah.
The ability to get into acceptance around things and not be attached to the outcome. Yeah, dude, because expectations, man, they're literally just resentments waiting to happen. They're you waiting to have your wants dashed. And like if you're open, I've found that if you don't expect a lot or don't expect anything really, you get more than you were bargaining for.
So I do believe that whatever we want, universe, God, divinity, whatever it is not only playful, a jokester, and also really loves to freaking surprise you and upshow you. And it can't do that if you're trying to control the situation.
No.
It never,
Yeah.
and so it will always, so I originally always wanted a houseboat. Like I think I told you the story, but I always wanted a houseboat. I was like, this is the thing I wanted. And then whenever I got together with my husband Jack, who's super tall, it was like any houseboats that we could afford were pretty tiny. And I took him on a houseboat tour.
He's all knocking his head on doorways and stuff.
Oh hell no, we're not. No. I'm sorry, honey. I'll compromise in a lot of ways, but not a houseboat.
Right.
So when I went to open the gallery. And the reason I went to open the gallery was because of a podcast.
Yeah.
It was a podcast I was listening to while I was painting, and it was these geeks that had literally studied plagues all their life, and finally it was their moment to shine. Okay.
Studied plagues.
Plagues,
You gotta love that.
specifically.
What an awesome life.
Well, I mean, they were history. They studied
I'm
history.
sure,
but
totally.
specifically,
Curiosity's a hell of a thing.
this was a
sometimes.
thing that they had just throughout history, and how
How it moved
talk
history.
about entropy and like
Yeah.
the different how things come and go and all the things. So they had studied them, and they had said basically that the way that a city revitalizes itself, the studying of like Venice and Rome and these bigger cities, is that it's the people that are there because of the money, they leave because they're like, it's dirty and gross and dying and all the things, and I've got the money and I'm going. And it's
Sounds familiar.
And it's always the bohemians that'll come back in. I'm not scared to get dirty.
Yeah.
Let's make some music. Let's do some paintings. Let's do some things.
Look at Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. And so that they come back in. And that's how it will revitalize. And so I was sitting at home doing my commissions from home when I heard that podcast, and I was like, I got to carry my flag. I mean, I love Seattle. I'm a Seattle.
Same.
I feel. And I was like, oh no! I've got to carry the. If it's my turn, I'm going to go. So I went out. I went out and I went looking for like spaces, and everybody was saying no. Nobody was giving anyone money. I mean, it was the freaking pandemic.
Right.
And I'm like, and people are moving out all over the place, empty, boarded up buildings. And I'm trying to offer people money left and right, and everybody's saying no.
Yeah.
And at this point, I had the intuition to open the shop. That was strong, right?
Yeah.
But me going and trying to like, I wanted here. I was getting slammed. No.
Yeah.
And then finally, I like had my pouty moment and sat down, and I was like, well, fine, universe, if you don't want me to. Fine.
No houseboat.
I know,
no space.
exactly. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, what next painting am I doing? I mean, I literally kind of moved on from it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I had like a friend call me up and was like, let's go look at this space. And we actually looked at a different space that did not work for me, but they're like, would you like this little space we have down on Pier 55, down on the water?
Right.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I love that space. I would love to have that space. So I ended up moving into that space. They worked with me. But the main thing was, it was only like a couple days in that I was like, oh, and I got my houseboat.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so there's always a much more divine order, of you like learning how to relax.
If you aren't
and
choking the fuck out of the universe.
exactly. And like, I
got
got to have it my way,
Do you know that like I never set out to become a tattoo artist in art school? I was literally like, someone gave a presentation about it, and I have no idea. I ignored the whole thing. I doodled and have no idea what he
That's
showed.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's really Damon, actually.
yeah. And then one day I get a tattoo, and then it's and it just
I like
sucked me
tattoos.
in.
Yeah.
I didn't intend to have a business, and then that happened to me, and in a way I couldn't ignore. And life like.
I think this podcast is that.
Oh yeah. I've been Forrest Gumping my way, just kind of. Oh yeah, sure, I'll go, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, and while there's a lot of shit that I do for the podcast, but I've been kind of Forrest Gumping my way into it too. Like, I haven't been forcing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's been days where, like, there's been weeks where I'm like fucking cutting clips and I'm doing this stuff, and like you get like 3 likes.
He really does do most of the work. I show up and like, hey,
Like, you're just doing this, and it's fucking thankless, right? And you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? And there's been a lot of like prayer or conversation or whatever with the universe where like, look, dude, show me what you want me to be doing here, right? And then there'll be like little things that happen, right? Just enough, right? To be like, okay. But I also know that for me to do this, that enough is far less than it would be for something else.
Yeah.
Right? Damon and I have talked about the fact that, like, I don't do a hobby. I'll do a hobby, I'll pay the initial amount of money. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to stick with a hobby, I'll pay the second large installment of money.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll pay the initial hobby, try it out. Mm-hmm. I'm probably not going to go for the next big payment for whatever that is, right? Like, I'll try it on enough to realize that I don't want to do it. Yeah. But this is one of those things where it's like, it hasn't taken like the portents, the signs, the intuition has been very small at times. And I've just, whatever, got up and just continued to do it, right? Like,
the magic of being able to let go of the outcome and kind of like just jump into the process and see what it becomes has allowed us in this, in our careers, and socially, to come across all the best miracles of our lives. Yeah, 100%. In spite of seeking knowledge my whole life, and wanting to know shit. It's been not knowing and being okay with that's afforded all the miracles.
100%.
Absolutely.
And the thing is it's so interesting to see you here now, because I just see you standing on the corner, smoking a cigarette, talking to people, but asking stuff like this, or talking about stuff like. But you know what I mean, like, in just kind of the evolution of it, and then sitting in here and having an actual conversation that we're then having with so many other humans, right?
Yeah,
and the interconnection.
It's dope, dude.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So, we're going to run out of time pretty soon, but I definitely have a couple questions that I want to ask. There's definitely some things.
Okay.
Here
we go. Down to business.
Let's square up for this here.
I know. Hold on.
This is the question I really want to know.
Okay.
If someone walked into your gallery, experiencing immense grief, or maybe even their own near-death experience, directly afterwards, what painting would you guide them to, and why?
Oh gosh, it happens all the time. I would not say all the time. I'm going to say it happens every 4 to 6 months, and we've closed the door and let people sit down and just cry. Like, it is definitely, it's an amazing. I feel very honored that I'm holding space. I feel honored that it has become a sacred space like that, and people that need to come will come in, and it will depend on the person. Meeting of the mind is a very powerful one. It's intentionally designed with the intention of facing your fears, which it looks like the skeleton, but it also kind of looks alien. It also looks like technology. It also looks like an animal. It looks like any of our fears throughout all of human history.
I've seen it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And it's meant to be a meditative piece, and it's definitely triggered people before, right? But it's meant to kind of come face to face with that which you fear the most, which is yourself. It always will be. It'll be the death of yourself, the ego of yourself, all of that. But to come face to face with it and actually feel it, because only in fully feeling that, whatever that is, may we start releasing it. Anytime we are covering or pushing or denying, it will always revisit us again. And so it kind of depends. That is definitely one of the pieces. I think universally, I think that Between Venus and Mars is my portal one, though it's a very strong piece. And that one, in general, people will stare at for a long time. And I feel like even those that come in and even sit on the floor, they'll kind of take their time with that one, and breathe into it. But in general, the whole space, I have designed it in a very particular way that, every I know it. Every piece is intentional. Like the meditating one, after I came back from the Himalayas, I realized that we have our own mountains we can go get high in, right?
Sure.
And have a great appreciation of it. So that one is the Cascade Mountains, and it has the big meditating person in it. It's a great one for the breathing. But then you'll notice my Taoist painting, the Yin Yang, that hangs high, it's actually coming from the East. So it's that Eastern influence of Eastern philosophy. So the whole room is set to be the breathing woman, because that's all there is to breathe, right? So every piece is set in that to actually hold space for people for whatever it is that resonates with them. And a lot of the times it's not even one I expect. A lot of the times it'll be something that I just didn't expect that would be the thing that does it for them. It could be a simple seal painting, right? But the sweetness of it is like, oh, that's the, nature, and it's all,
Sure.
So yeah. I mean, in general, that's a really hard question.
No, it's
just because and now I've done this long enough that I do have a strong intuition about it. And I do have, not to get to, oracle-y, but I do have an oracle deck. And so when people do come in and they're like, I just need to be here or whatever it is, I tend to have them like draw a card.
Sure.
And then, because it's one of my paintings, and then that just even them visually, I went to an art show the other day that was set up like that, and I didn't know it. It was the most amazing art show. It was all these women on the wall, beautiful, some of the most beautiful paintings of women doing all different things. And then it said, which is your favorite? And I looked around, and there was so many gorgeous ones, but there was one I was drawn to more than anything. And I was like, this is the one. And when you leave, you realize that you drew your card. And then the card, then it said, now is the time in your life when you should don your crown of knowing who you are. It was just it was so like, it was like, okay, and so I feel that it's already like that though, in many ways. When people are drawn to a particular painting, what was the intention I did with that painting? Okay, that's already my natural intuition of knowing where they're at, right? And then going from that point.
That's awesome.
That's almost that multi-dimensional kind of thing where you're communicating with people from a time and place.
It is multi-dimensional.
To a different time and place.
Exactly.
With, you know what I mean?
That cool that it's exactly interdimensional for sure. Yeah. You've gotten so much trippier over it. I love it.
Whoa, I'm almost melting.
No, but it just goes to show that like I don't discredit any of our early drug use. That I think that if anything, it got us out of the box. Yeah. Like it definitely was
I've said this many times. It makes us cool.
There you go.
Well, it gives us more perspectives.
It gives us more perspectives, but I love older Damon though. I love that I love how trippy you are just naturally.
Well, thank you.
Just the way your mind thinks and how you convey different ideas. Yeah, it's
well,
beautiful.
You've been a great role model in that, so yeah, it's been fun to kind of trade ideas on that,
Absolutely.
And chop it up.
I remember, can I tell a little story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was shortly after, this is whenever I was apprenticing. Mm-hmm. And there was a room upstairs that Damon didn't like. And your upstairs room, and he's like,
I'd done a bunch of things up there.
Yeah, he had done a bunch of things up there, and he didn't like
Talking
it.
about the same room, right?
Cocaine was the thing
t-shirt
I'd
room?
done. Yeah.
Okay, and I remember, I was apprenticing, and I was like, Damon, let me smudge up there with the sage, and he's like, that stuff stinks. And I go, how the hell you think we're going to get those bad spirits out? You want it to smell good? And I remember he gave me that laugh, and he's like, okay, you're right. Yeah. Anyways, it was a good
dude.
It's funny. All I know about how I feel about that room is that I remember feeling that way about it, and now I haven't for a very long time. So I don't know. Maybe you're smudging the sage at work.
I mean, I just say
those bad spirits. Like,
I mean,
I don't like that plant. I'm out of here. You know?
Well, the thing is, I mean, when these woo-woo things,
It's intention.
It's intention. It's been like people have been working with that for so long. You know, it's not the white folks. The Native Americans. They're a long time ago. They're like, this is let's let the earth help us out a little bit with this.
Thousands of years of continuous experience with a singular practice have to be from something.
Exactly.
And there has to be some kind of energy push through it.
Well, it's the same with like astrology signs, right? I had a sign when I was a kid on the wall that said I was an Aries, and the number one thing under Aries, it said creativity. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so is it because I'm an Aries, or is it because there was a sign on the wall that said I'm creative, and now guess what? I grew up creative.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I'll tell you one of the things that that kind of piggyback on what you're saying about Damon. We're gonna make it the Damon show, but
Good. I love that.
Damon used to approach things with disdain. Like Damon was quick to poo-poo things, right? Like, and he still and he stopped
He had a
doing
little bit
it.
of judgment.
Yeah. Well, I gotta protect myself somehow.
of course, absolutely.
He stopped doing it. But what's even more cool to be in a functional relationship with him as a good friend.
Absolutely.
And I mean that. Like, I'm in a lot of relationships, right, with people that aren't functional.
Right.
Or they're functional as deeply as they need to be functional.
Yeah.
And I do that relationship to that level, and I don't bother with it any other way. Yeah. But Damon, I've seen him go, oh. Do you know what I mean? Like
dramatic exhale.
Yeah, it's just fucking like blah blah blah. That's fucking okay. Well, so tell me about this some more. You know? What I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Well, that's something I'm working on.
And
You know,
I
is
do.
getting
I
over
have
the cognitive bias of
It's
things.
a brilliant fucking thing to be able to do that with a human, because most humans don't do that.
Admirable.
Most humans won't do that, right? And so when somebody does that, you're like, oh, that's a fucking relief.
No, that's wisdom.
Yeah, that's a
not
relief.
knowledge. That's wisdom. That's like going at a deeper
That's
level.
a relief, because nobody likes to get fucking yelled at. Right?
No one.
And it's always a relief when someone winds up like that, and then they're like, oh, let me go ahead and...
Yeah, let me downscale this.
And I love it,
see
dude.
what's
Like,
happening.
it's a fucking... It helps me do the same thing for other people.
Well, all I've ever wanted is to be able to get along with large amounts of people.
Same.
And I know that, like, if I have any ability to have a positive effect, then it's going to require me to be able to get along with people who I don't entirely agree with.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
I've always appreciated the idea that life is made up of experiences, and those experiences, in order to be impactful, have to come from places that I wouldn't have chosen or wouldn't have otherwise, you know. So there's openness, that ability to look at things that trigger me at first, but I have to, like, you know, that's all part of, I have to grow in that direction to get what I most value in life.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the beauty of aging. That's what's
Yeah.
I mean, we might
for
get
sure.
a couple little wrinkles here, or maybe the knees hurt a little bit more now, you know. But in general, I love aging. I mean, I mean, I think men have their own insecurities, but like, God, women. I feel like with heavy insecurities, like 20s, even 30. Finally, all that stuff is going away, and it's
I will say youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. If you're going to be dumb and fast, you should be bulletproof when you're doing it. You know?
I got to ask this question, and then we always try to give space for people to pitch. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, you know, any platform, anything you want people to know about, please do that, and we will add any links. But there's this question that I think is going to be a new question on the show, right?
Okay.
You're going to be the inaugural.
Okay.
Okay. As someone who has done these interviews before and, you know, been interviewed and stuff, is there a question that nobody who's ever interviewed you or asked you a question in this type of way has not asked that you've always wanted to be asked?
I mean, that's a great question, but then now I do on the spot. I feel like that I'd really need to like think about it.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's that one is. Oh man.
Is there something that people miss when they're talking about your art or you as a person that you feel you've always wanted to express?
I think that you guys did an amazing job in the sense that it's the alchemy of spirits, right? And that is something that once again you can't really pinpoint.
Yeah.
And so I've had an amazing time just spinning with you guys, like just spiraling
awesome.
and that is something I feel that you guys have done better than anyone I've ever been interviewed by.
Thank you.
Hands down. And so I think that is giving the space, the freedom, the questions, the push, enough of that. But I think more than anything, the authenticity, right? I think that anytime that anything's too scripted, it's always going to, fall a little short.
Yeah.
Where I feel that, hey, this is a free, open space of like, let's really dive in and have fun.
Yeah, totally.
And actually enjoy and forget that the mics are here and let's just like sit around and have some good conversation. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like, I know that's something.
Those are things that we, I think, really believe in.
Yeah.
Not only that alchemy of spirits is probably the path to all the answers that our world desperately needs,
100%.
but also that but in that you also can and will, by virtue of that process, have fun.
Sure.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
No, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, we're here to be joyful.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And stewing about things doesn't solve stuff.
Yeah.
Getting in here, mixing it up, and having a little fun while we do. That's where the answers come up.
Yeah, and the funny part is, like, we had this conversation. So Damon and I filmed 2 or 3 episodes, and we filmed like 2 or 3, and Damon had to leave the following day. No, we recorded a bunch of episodes, but like after the 2nd or 3rd episode, it was kind of chafing Damon the way I was acting because I didn't know what the fuck to do. And it was kind of chafing me the way he was acting because he would withdraw, right? And we went and we had this walk
Okay.
at Volunteer Park on a Sunday afternoon, right before he left for a month.
Yeah.
We just talked it out, man. We just walked for like an hour and had a conversation. And I remember this one part. There was
Which I never used to know how to do.
Right.
All I knew was that if I got to that place
Confrontation of some sort,
we
maybe.
just kind of blow the bridge. That didn't work out.
he was
Right.
ready to blow the bridge, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, let's have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
Right. And we went and had this conversation, and there was a lot of really good points that we both got to, right? Damon had some really salient, very good advice and points and input. But I said this one thing to him, and I watched it click in his brain, right? I was like, Damon, the reason that we're doing this is because every time you and I have a conversation, because we do pancakes at the house, every time you and I have a conversation, people will sit around and listen to us.
Yeah.
Right? If the people on the show can't keep up, then that's a bad episode. Right? Like, that's just what it is, right? Like, yes, we have things to learn. Yes, we have to find discipline. Yes, we both have to, you have to be a little bit more. I have to be a little bit less. I'm going to have to learn that. We're going to have to edit some goofy shit out from me, but they're going to need to keep up or it's a bad episode, right? Because that's what we're providing here. We're providing this, right? And when it's this, it's amazing.
Time.
Yeah.
In present time.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like I said, no scripting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do the framework. It's like creating a painting. You can do, the basic, but you need to leave space in there for the miracles to happen, for the magic to happen, right? Because that is where there's going to be stuff that, aha.
Painting makes you be present. Really, I think, and that's what is so attractive to some of us who may have minds that are prone to scatter or or to take off on us, and the process of painting makes you come
back
right
here.
there.
Yeah.
This type of stuff, and to touch on that, like, I have started writing a few questions down.
Yeah.
So I have a palette.
Yeah, framework. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a palette with, and I might not
Got
like
a loose sketch to work from.
a little bit of something just to keep. This is me practicing the craft.
Yeah.
This is me. I want it to remain open and loose and pliable.
Yes.
But at the same time, I want to have a rough idea of where I want to go. What am I trying to say?
So you said that I can I'll plug my new painting in.
Please.
Right?
Yeah,
There we go.
please plug
Well, only
some stuff.
only
Yeah.
because this is kind of how this is. So I have wanted to do this painting of Shakti and Shiva for a long time.
Okay.
Okay. So I feel like I just am so, I appreciate, if you come into my shop, you'll see I've got Jesus over here. I've got Mary over here. I've got all the things,
yeah.
like I really,
Sure.
I love all, and I love all the deities. I love all the things. What I really love, and I consider myself, if I don't like to stereotype in any sort of way, but I would say maybe a little Buddhist, maybe a little Taoist. But the thing I like about Hinduism is the masculine feminine. So they're very much Shakti Shiva. They're like, there's a dance between the two and both are necessary, which is very Taoist too, but this one's more playful. Like they're very...
Well, and their iconry has such a great dynamic body movement built into them. Like,
it's amazing.
That blows me away.
It's the dance. Well, yeah.
And amazing characters.
Amazing characters.
Come on.
Well, and they're all incarnations of the two main ones, Shakti
Right.
and Shiva, right? And so I've always wanted to paint Shakti and Shiva and in full dance because I do a lot of yoga too. So I've already been doing the moves for years. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, let me do it as a painting. So this is how we talk about there's framework and then being open to the organic state of things. So that's my next painting. My husband, who is now my partner in business, has gone and booked me a show down in Santa Barbara, which is amazing. Bless his soul. I've never had anyone book me shows.
Right.
I'm like, awesome,
yeah.
okay? But they love my Dia de los Muertos. That's their thing. They're like,
It's an area. It's down. Yeah.
well, and I kind of have I have a whole collection of it, and all of my airport murals throughout the country are all Dia de los Muertos. So like I have my own Dia de los Muertos following of people. So
Right.
so he has booked this. But I'm committed to this painting, and I need to do a new painting for this one because the walls are big, and I only have so much space. And so now I have combined the two. So it's going to be Shakti and Shiva, but as Dia de los Muertos. But do you know what the coolest tie between the two is?
But
Both cultures. So Dia de los Muertos, if you follow it back far enough, it's from the Aztecs, right? And it's because the Spaniards came over and it was a compromise. They were already worshiping their death goddess for about 3 months in a year cycle. And basically the Catholics were like, that's not going to work for us.
Sure.
And then they're like, well, so let's compromise. And so they broke it down basically to 2 days, right?
Right.
And so, anyways, they do Day of the Dead, All Saints Days, right? It's with the Catholics.
Right.
Their number one from that history, their number one sacred flower is the marigold. They line the streets with marigold. They put it everywhere. Guess what?
What?
So do the Hindus.
Oh, nice.
That is how they make their
yeah.
tikas. Like the marigold is their number one spiritual flower.
Wow.
And so they have this very interesting tie.
Synergy.
Yeah, synergy. And so I'm going to pull them together. But anyway, so now I'm super excited for this. I gave it space. I didn't have to do the Shakti Shiva. Now I can do the Shakti Shiva for the next painting that I have to do for the Dia de los Muertos. And then that's the organic, that's the creative moving through, right? And you being present enough to be open and to see the possibilities of what can come next, right?
And sometimes just giving yourself a minute to get past the initial rush response to the question to get to the flow, the creative, like, well, not exactly what I wanted. Well, maybe if.
Could be better than I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be better than I
exactly.
thought.
Yeah.
Burgundy.
It was awesome.
God damn it, man.
Burgandy Viscosi Gallery.
Burgandy
Pier.
Viscosi Gallery, Pier 55. It
That's
is
right.
a visionary experience.
It really is.
I'm
going to
tell you,
absolutely.
this was one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode. This was great.
Oh, thank
Thank you for like this.
I've been excited for this for a long time.
No, it was.
I was
good.
excited when you asked me. I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this will be fun.
No,
This is
no,
gonna be
yeah.
fun. For
All
sure.
love, and there's some amazing episodes that we've done thus far, but this one was particularly, I don't know, it just something in here. It did something back in here for me.
Yeah. It hit all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like dealing with trauma and bad life stuff. There was the creative process and digging into that.
Hope and
there was
fucking-
spiritual philosophy.
death and all,
yeah.
and,
Totally.
like everything, all the things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Peace.